First of all, welcome everyone to the 2D Masterclass. In today's Masterclass, like it was addressed in your notification, we'll be talking end to end about the 2D. Okay, so we'll be starting from the basics of 2D and we'll be talking about the advances. What are all the advanced things that could be done with our 2D, and now a 2D which is generated could be made to precision and take it forward for the download. So we'll be talking end to end, and we'll also be talking about different types of 2D drawings which you can generate using NAADI as well. And since that being said, we can just start with your today's set. Here in NAADI, if you're able to model your 3Ds perfectly, I'm talking about your cabinets, your non-cabinets, everything. Okay, if you're able to model your 3Ds here precisely, then you should be able to generate your 2Ds accurately as well. Okay, 2D drawings in the sense I'm talking about your detailed 2D drawings. Okay, so you should be able to do it and you'll be able to take it point. But for that, 3D need to be devised properly. Modeling is the basic core for all those things. And when it comes to 2D in NAADI here, there are actually three major types of 2D drawings which designers commonly generate. One is your construction drawing, another one is your custom furniture drawing, and the last one is your annotation drawing. Annotation drawing is still recently I could see some designers showing interest on that annotation drawing. So don't worry, by the end of the today's session, we'll talk about what that annotation drawing is. That is also part of today's agenda. Okay. So to give you a quick intro of what this construction and custom furniture drawing is, if you want to generate a 2D drawing, a 2D detailed drawing for your cabinets. Okay, cabinets in the sense I'm talking about your kitchen cabinets, wardrobe, storage cabinets, any cabinets which you designed from our catalog, from our kitchen and bath catalog or our closet catalog. If you design any of the spaces, any of your cabinets using our catalog, you will be able to generate detailed 2D drawings for, say, your base unit plan, wall unit plan, loft unit plan, internal elevation drawings, external elevation drawings, your countertop plan. All those things will be able to generate it. That is what your custom furniture drawing. Remember, custom furniture drawing is something that has to do only with your cabinets. The second type of 2D drawing here, like I said, is your construction drawings. Construction drawings are 2D drawings which are focused for your design other than your cabinets. Something like your wall panel, your false ceiling, or your floor tile layout, or your furniture plan, or your furniture plan drawings, working drawings, all those things except your cabinets. Rest all design components which are there in your project, you should be able to generate a 2D drawing for it, and that is called your construction drawing. Okay, so these are all the major two types of drawing which I notice many designers are going for. Okay, so in that, first let's just start with your construction drawings. So for that demonstration, I'm going to use this project. Okay, this was a project which was completely designed end to end in NAADI. Okay, and always remember, if you're planning to generate your construction drawing, make sure that your entire floor plan is modeled. Okay, the reason is your construction drawing will be generated for that entire floor plan. Okay, so make sure that your entire floor plan is modeled for, say, because I could notice some designers, they may not design their service, they may not design their utility because they major focus on this region. If that is what you want, that is not an issue, but in your 2Ds also you will see that space as empty. But if you want to generate a complete drawing for your entire floor plan, make sure all your spaces are modeled. Modeled in the sense I'm talking with regards to your model placements here, your furniture placements, your finish applications for your surfaces, your wall decors. If you want your propping to be there in your 2Ds, something like these, make sure that is also modeled. And most importantly, your wall panels, fall ceilings, and if you're having your cabinets, make sure that is also modeled as well. Once all those components are modeled, then you should be able to generate your construction drawing. So for that, on the top here, can you see in your main modeling window, the top, you will see something known as drawings and schedules. If you place your cursor, it will open up a drop down. In that drop down, can you see this first option, construction drawing? This is what it is. So just click it, and this will open up your construction drawing window. Okay, so before proceeding with both these drawings and what are all the different types of drawings which are generated as a part of your construction, if you're new to this 2D window, you might be wondering what is this new layout here? What is this new window which is white and white, right? So this is what your 2D drawing window is. Okay, so this is where your drawings will be generated. You can edit the drawings in terms of dimensions, annotations, and edge, and then you'll be able to place it in your sheet and take it for download. So this is what that window here is. Okay, and in your 2D drawing window, there are two important tabs here. One is your edit view and another one is your drawing layout. Can you see here on the top left? Okay, in that the edit view is where your 2D drawings will be generated. Yes, can you see here? These are all the different types of 2D construction drawings which are generated here, and you can go for it. So this is where your 2D drawings will be generated. And if you want to add any dimension, if you want to edit a dimension, if you want to edit your annotations, if you want to add a new dimension, annotation, or if you want to add a surface, for all those editings could be done in this edit view only. Okay, so this is one of the important window where your 2D drawings will be generated and you can edit it. And then once you edited your 2D drawing, you can't directly download it, right? You have to place it in a sheet template, organize the layout, and then you have to download it, right? Almost similar to what you have done in your CAD. In your CAD, you have your model window and then you have your layout window where your sheet template would be. Once it is modeled, you will just take it, place it in your layout window, and then you plot it up, right? Similar logic here. This is what your edit view, which is your model view in your CAD. And this one here is the drawing layout view. Drawing layout tab is where your sheet template will be present, where you can just take your drawing, place it here, organize the layout, and take it forward to your download. So this is what your basic divide, your edit view and your drawing layout here is. Okay, and apart from that, another UI you could see on the top here, you have a menu bar here, right? This menu bar will have some important tools which will help you in your 2D editing process here. Okay, don't worry, we'll talk about it. And apart from that, on the right hand side, you have your settings tab. This settings tab holds two important tools here. We'll also talk about what those tools are. And then on the right hand side here, you have an option to exit your 2D drawing window and go back to your modeling window. And this is a preview window. Okay, so you're working on 2D. In this, everything will be here in 2D. This is just for your 3D understanding. If you want to see how that is updated in the 3D or it is in the 2D here, you can just, for your reference, you can just have a glance at it. Apart from this preview window on the right, on the left hand side, you will see a view list here, right? This is where different types of 2D drawing which are generated will be listed. As you click on different 2D drawings, that specific drawing will be generated here. Can you see? This is what it is. Okay, so remember this view list is where all your 2D drawings will be listed. Okay, and here in this view list, right now, we have this renovation drawing, right? Remember, renovation drawing is nothing but construction drawing in your 2D working window. Okay, in your modeling window, we termed it as construction drawing, right? In your 2D window, we'll call it as renovation views. Both are same thing. Okay, so right now we only have renovation view for the project, so it is much more easy for us to navigate into it. But what if you have even taken a custom furniture drawing for this project? In those cases, those things will also be visible here at the last. Can you see custom furniture? Under that, all the custom furniture drawings, your cabinet detail drawings will be generated. In those scenarios where your view list might be completely congested, you might not be able to navigate which drawing comes under construction, which drawing comes under your custom furniture. There might be that confusion. To avoid it, on the top here, you have an Alt tab. You can sort out what type of drawing you want. So if you want to see only the construction drawing in this viewed list tab, then select only construction renovation views. Only your construction drawing will be displayed. If you want to see only your custom furniture drawing, which is your cabinet technical drawings, right? In those cases, then you can go for custom furniture view. Only your custom furniture views will be generated. For this project, I haven't generated any custom view yet, so it is empty. But once you generated it, you will see that list here being done. So this Alt tab will help you to sort the drawings depending on the requirement. Otherwise, at the initial phase, it might create some confusion. What drawing, what type it is, and all those things. Okay, and this is what the basic UI of your 2D window here is. Okay, so now what we'll do is first let's just look into what are all the different types of construction drawings which are generated here. So in that, the first drawing, what you're seeing is the furniture plan, which is your typical furniture plan for your entire floor. Okay, so here it will automatically mention the name and area of each and every space. Remember, this name is what you would have typed it in your model. In your modeling window, you would have provided a name for each and every space, right? In the plan view, by selecting that space, you would have provided a room type and room name. Here, this room name, what you typed here, is something that will get reflected in your drawings. So make sure this room name is properly mentioned for each and every space here. Okay. So if you want to mention something as master bedroom or main bedroom, anything of that sort, just add it in the room name. Make it proper here in the model, so that in your 2D drawings that will be automatically updated here. So that way your furniture plan will have the names and area for each and every space. And if you're wondering what about the area, do I need to type it? No, the tool itself will automatically calculate the area based on the model, the length and width of the space, based on all those things, it will automatically generate it. And apart from that, you will see your overall furniture layout, and all the wall dimensions, all the dimensions here which you need for the spaces will be automatically mentioned here. Yes, all these are auto generated dimensions. Okay, it is automatically mentioned here. Okay, and this is your furniture plan, your first type of construction drawing. Now, some of your designers might be wondering, what if I want the clearance distance? What if I want a working drawing? I want to see the distance between this one till this wall, from this edge till this wall, the clearance, all those things. They technically call it as working drawings, right? There is also that. Here we call it as furniture size, which is the second type of construction drawings. Can you see here? Here, this is your furniture layout. This is your furniture plan with your clearance distances mentioned on point. Okay, so this is your technical working drawings here, your furniture plan, furniture size. The third type of construction drawing which you could generate here is your floor finish plan, which is technically your floor tile layout, as simple as that. Okay, some designers are already aware of this, that you can generate a proper floor tile layout plan here. Some designers might not be aware of it. Okay, the reason could be is because you might have not seen this lines and everything in your floor finish. I'm sure that you would have clicked it at some point and you would have not seen it. Okay, the thing is, if you would like to see all this floor tile layout with grouting lines and everything, this need to be configured in your modeling. Yes, in your model, the floor need to be configured so that these floor or these grout lines, everything could be accommodated in your floor tile layout here. Okay, if that is configured properly, your grout lines, your spaces, and not only that, your starting point of the tile will also be mentioned. To that precision, it will be done. Okay, it will automatically annotate the name, the dimension of the tile, what you provided in the configuration, and the name of the tile as well. Okay, so yes, if you want, you can double click and re-edit the name, but to this precision, it will be automatically generated in your furniture in your floor plan, floor tile layout. Okay, so now what we'll do that is, we'll look into what is that configuration. I'm sure that you might be wondering, what is that floor plan or the floor finish configuration we have to do to get this output, right? It's a very simple process. Okay, so for now, some of the designers who were not able to see that floor tile layout properly, that could be because where they would have just directly uploaded some finish image onto the flooring, something like this. Can you see? Where in this was just a public library finish which I applied here, where I go to public library finishes, and there you have different finishes, right? Just randomly selected a finish and I applied it onto the flooring. Okay, on most cases, this is how you would have applied a finish to a flooring surface. Okay, if this was done this way, where it was, if that finish is just a texture or image which doesn't have the grouting configurations, right? If it was this way, then you won't see that grouting lines and everything in your floor tile layout. If you want to see it, then you have to get inside your floor tile layout plan. How to do? Just like what we did. If you want to edit your wall, you have to go to your wall editor. If you want to edit your ceiling, you have to go to your ceiling editor, right? Similarly, if you want to configure these grout line informations, these style informations to your flooring, then you have to click on the floor. You will see something known as floor editor. Can you see? Click it. And this will open up your floor editor window. Okay, floor editor window is exactly like your wall editor and your ceiling editor. Okay, there isn't any difference here. Can you see? This is your floor editor window. Okay, and here also you can notice this is just an image. Okay, if it is an image of a texture, then I can just select that texture, and here I could control the horizontal offset, which is like horizontal movement of texture, vertical movement of texture. Can you see? As I move it, the texture will move horizontally. Similarly, if you want to move the texture vertically, I can move the texture vertically as well, something like this. Okay, or if I want to rotate, I can rotate it at this point. These are all the basic editings which you could do if you apply a texture finish to a floor. But if you want to see the pavings, the tile pavings, so that the ground lines and everything to get reflected, for that you have to follow this process. So first, try to apply any tile finish in this tab. Or here also you could see there is a tile component, right? You could also select that as well. So just go here, just select any random tile. Okay, really doesn't matter, just select any finish. The reason is we can configure the visual appeal of it and the dimension of it. But for that, we need to have some placeholder tile here. So for that, we can just select one tile here and randomly applying it. Once that is done, you can just select that tile. And now can you see there are so many informations about the tile. Before, when it was just a plain texture image, we were just having horizontal offset, vertical offset, and angle, using which we can change, we can differentiate the texture, right? We can modify the texture. But now this is not only a texture. This is a paving which has a tile, and now we could configure so many aspects of it. Or say there are different paving patterns which are available here. Can you see? In this common thing, we go for grid because that is what tile is defined. But apart from that, you have your brickwork pattern, staggered pattern, herringbone, your chevron. All those are different paving patterns based on which the tiles could be arranged. Okay, all those could be configured here. Most of the time we'll be using this grid for your tiles. That is also there. Apart from that, if you scroll down here, can you see the dimension of the tile? Right now, this is 800 cross 800. That is the default dimension based on the tile what we uploaded here. You can configure it for, say, in your case, if the tile is about 2 feet cross 2 feet, just type it as 2 feet cross 2 feet here. Can you see based on which the dimension is configured? And as a result, the entire tile configuration will be updated as well for this space, for this row. Okay, so here you can just type it if you want this to be 4 feet cross 2. You see, the same configuration will be updated here. So depending on your design tile requirement, you can configure it. Second thing, you might be wondering the tile finish, right? This tile dimension is fine, but this is not the tile finish which I want to apply. In those cases, at the bottom here, can you see the tile finish? Click it, and now this will open up our enterprise catalog. Okay, yes, our enterprise catalog of tiles, and yes, we have cataloged many brands of tiles as well. Okay, so if you just click on this enterprise tab, click on this choose option, click, and these are all the brands of tiles which we have cataloged. Okay, some designers are already aware of this process, but for some it is completely new, right? So yes, you have different brands of tiles. For say if you're looking for Kajaria, click it. These are all the different dimensions of tile which are issued by the brand. Let's just say that you're looking with 600 cross 600. Click it, and it will ask you what is the finish, matte or polished. Let's just say that you're looking for a polished finish. And now these are all the finishes, tiles, which are actual, all these are official catalogs of Kajaria. Okay, we can just select any of the finish for say, let me just select this finish here. Once it is done, it will be updated. And once it is updated, if I want, I can change the tile dimension. In default, it will take the same dimension as what you provided here. Okay, what you selected here. But if you want, yes, you can even configure it too. Okay, but based on this finish of tile, this model, this finish of tile, Kajaria will only provide 600 cross 600. So to this precision, you can define it. This is your enterprise catalog of tile. Second thing, if you go to your model catalog here, there are also some generic tile finishes as well. If you're looking for some generic, white finish for the tile or some generic stone finishes or something like that, those cases you could also go to model category. There you will see some generic public library finishes. Those things could also be applied. Okay, or if you have your personal finish. Let's just say that you want to have your image of a personal finish and you want to upload it here. In those scenarios also, it will be there under my accounts here. You will be able to see it under my accounts here. And instead of favorites, go to uploads, and here you will see some uploaded finish. All these are personal library finishes. And by the point I say this, some would be like, I already tried this up, but for me it was not getting visible, or it is visible for you, right? See, the thing is, this is a personal library finish. This is a personal catalog finish, right? So if you're uploading any finish to your personal library, which you want to be visible in your flow layout, while uploading the finish, it will ask something known as texture category, right? In that, while uploading for, I'll just demonstrate it. Let me just upload one sample finish here. Let's just say that I upload this. Once you upload a finish here, it will ask you with three important criteria, right? Material category need to be set, texture category need to be set, and dimension, mapping dimension need to be set, right? So in this material category, like I said, you can be specific about it, or if not, you could also select others. In this case, this technically comes under your tile, and I'm just selecting it. Okay, but here the most important is the texture category. So if you want your uploaded texture to be visible in this tab here, then you have to select either of these two which I'm telling. One is your wooden flooring. So there will be two textures here. One is as wooden flooring, another one is your mosaic. You just select any of these two texture categories here. Okay, so that it will be visible in your tab. Okay, only those two finishes. We've tested with all the finishes here, all the texture categories here. Out of all the texture categories, only those two categories, your wooden flooring and your mosaic. Only those two categories, if you select and you properly set a mapping dimension for it, okay, based on your actual tile requirement, whether it is a 600 cross 600 or 600 cross 1200, make sure this is properly set, and then you click on your upload textures and proceed. Once these two texture categories are set and mapping dimensions are provided, based on the mapping dimension what you provided here, it will be precisely uploaded. And that is how this texture was applied. Can you see this was a texture which was set to mosaic category. Okay, and this was a texture which was set to in your wooden flooring category. So only those two categories, texture categories, if you select, it will get updated here. Apart from that, if you select any other category, you won't be able to see that texture. Okay, so make sure it's either wooden flooring or mosaic. Once that is done, yes, you can even define your personal library finishes also. But in my case, I'm just going in for the catalog finish, which is Kajaria. Tile is done, tile is placed, everything is proper. But what about the grouting? I mean, only for the grouting client, we are just taking in so much effort here to define a set, right? So for the grouting here, can you see there is something called gap here? Can you see just above that? Here you can define what should be the grouting thickness. Yes, you can define it if you want a 1 mm grout, or if you want a 2 mm grout, you can define it based on which you can see. Not only that, you can also control the color of the grout as well. You can just click on this replace tab. You can just select any color depending on your requirement. Any color, you have your hue and your tint and tones will be here. You can just move it. And now can you see here? And depending on the mm what we provide, you will see that grout lines also will become thicker or thinner. Can you see? So to this precision, you can define it. Your groutings. Okay, remember the grouting what you provide here is something that'll get reflected in your furniture tile layout. So make sure this is proper. Okay, and your finish could be anything according to your design requirement. And apart from that, the last segment here is your tile starting point. Okay, see right now if we notice the tile here for this room is started from the bottom left. Okay, because that is the standard position. Here it will take a default standard position of bottom left. But if you want to define, you can define it. That is what this control tab is. Can you see whether I wanted to start from the bottom left of the room or bottom right of the room, based on which it will completely reconfigure, or the top right or the top left, or if you want to start it from the center of the room also, you can define it. So depending on how you want to lay the tile, you can define the starting point here. Okay, so to this precision, you can do it. See, in my case, it is a square room. I was able to precisely see four corners and I can position it. But what if it is an irregular shaped room? Let's just say that there is some L kind of a room here. In those cases, this will be the bottom left. This will be the top right. This will be top left. Let's just say that there is one extension here. In those cases where you won't have 4 corners, you might have so many corners, right? In those cases, then how can I define the tile starting point? I mean, using this, you can define it. But if it is more than 4 corners, then that might become a bit challenging to set the starting point, right? In those cases, you don't need to worry. Just select it, and here in the floating window, can you see there is something called add a starting point, right? Click it, and you define where you want to start it. Yes, using this, you can define wherever you want. If you feel like I want this to be exactly at this point or at this corner, you can define it. And based on that, the tile will be configured. Can you see? So this is like a standard tile starting position for the room. But if you want to precisely start at a specific point, yes, you can also use this add a starting point. Okay, so these are all the configurations which you could do in the process here. I told you, right? So again, I'll repeat, using this floor tile layout, you should be able to define the tile size here, the finish of the tile, either from our finish catalog or from the public library model catalog or your personal library finishes. And you can define the thickness of the grout, the material of the grout, and your tile positioning, your tile starting point. All those things to be configured for the space here. And just click on save and you can exit. Once you did this for all your floor spaces, then that is where your floor tile layout will be accurate there in the drawings. Okay. And if you feel like this is fine, I also have the same tile, same configuration in the other space. I mean, do I have to again click this, go to floor editor and do it? You don't have to. You already have configured for this room, right? Use your material brush to copy it from this room and apply it for your other rooms. The same configuration will be maintained for the other rooms as well in this. Okay, if you want. And then if you want, maybe you can just reposition your tile starting point alone. You can just take it forward. Okay, but you can use material brush. It will copy the same tile configuration what we did. It will be precisely applied to the other rooms as well if you want. So that way you can just define the floor tile layout for all the spaces. Once that is done, now if we just go to your construction drawing, before if you notice in that floor tile layout for the bedroom, I didn't have a floor tile layout being defined there, right? So now since we added it, now can you see the same floor tile layout is defined now and it will be on point here. So this is what I was referring to. Okay, so make sure that your floor tile is precisely taken to the point. Now can you see here? And did you notice what I did now? I made some changes in the model here. Okay, so yes, it will automatically get updated in the drawings here. You don't need to worry about it. But some details might miss. For say, I was not annotated, the tile was not annotated here. The starting point was not defined for this, right? In those cases, I clicked on this auto annotate option. This auto annotate option, shortcut is Shift A, is like a refresh tool. Okay, it will just refresh and check what are all the updates which are done in the model, and it will again update your 2D drawings based on the model changes. Okay, so on most cases it will be updated, but it's better that you just click on this auto annotate once and get the updates reflected in your 2Ds as well. So that way can you see, and then you can just double click it to edit and you can take it forward. Don't worry, we'll be talking about your your text dimension editing and all those things in some times now, but this is what it is. This is what your flow finish plan is. Okay, so yes, this is your third type of construction drawing. Your fourth type of construction drawing is your reverse ceiling plan, which is your RCP drawing. Okay, yes, you could also generate a detailed RCP drawing, your ceiling design here itself. Okay, the thing is you have to properly design that ceiling using your ceiling editor, where if you want to add an extrusion, cove lighting, everything need to be properly added. If that is modeled there, then your RCP drawing is just a matter of seconds here. Okay, so that way here you will see there are 3 drawings which are generated as a part of your RCP. One is your reverse ceiling plan, ceiling size, and lighting fixture position. Okay, so reverse ceiling plan, the intent of this drawing here is to just showcase you the design. That's it, the design of your false ceiling. It will automatically annotate the levels. Can you see here? It will automatically annotate the levels, and a level is nothing but this is the position of this surface at a distance from the floor. So this is placed at about 2400 mm from the floor. This region is 2700 mm from the floor, depending on which for each and every surface, it will mention the levels of extrusion. That will be done and your design will be communicated in clear points here. And now you might be wondering, what about I want a dimension? I want the dimension of my ceiling here. I want what is this extrusion point, what is the width and length of it. I want what is the cove distance, where this dotted line, what you're seeing, right? This is your strip light which I placed in the cove. Yes, to that position it will be updated here. This dotted line is the strip light. Okay. So to that position it will be there, but if you want a dimension for all these aspects, then you could go for the ceiling size. Ceiling size is also an RCP drawing, like I said, but this focuses on the dimension of your ceiling. So that way, can you see this initial extrusion? What is your cove length here, which is 85 mm? In that, what is the distance from this point to this point? Everything will be mentioned here. Can you see this is the distance? 75 mm is the distance from this edge of the cove to your strip light position. 85 mm is from the center to this part of the. So that way, for each and everything, the details will be automatically mentioned. Can you see? So the length and width of each and every ceiling will be automatically notified. So this is what your ceiling size is. Remember, ceiling size drawings intention is to provide you the design and the dimension of your ceiling design, false ceiling design. That's it. Okay. If your space didn't have any false ceiling, if your room didn't have any false ceiling, it will look empty like this. Only if you have a false ceiling, you might need all these aspects and you redefine it. So this is what your ceiling size drawing is. Now you might be wondering, ceiling size is fine, but what if I want a center to center distance? I want what is the distance between those two lightings, the position of this lighting, because that is one of the common RCP drawings which I noticed designers are using, and they are using it as a part of their electrical drawings as well in the plan. If they want an electrical drawing in the plan view, they are using the drawing as a part of the electrical drawing too. In those cases, you can just go for this light fixture position, which is the third type of RCP drawing. Light fixture position only focuses on the lighting position, the position of that lighting. So it will tell you what is the clearance distance of this lighting from both the sides. It will automatically notify you. Can you see here? Each and every lighting points will be precisely notified here. The distance of it from the either sides. Okay, so this focuses on the position of your lightings, where your lighting is positioned with regards to your design. Okay, so this is also generated, which is your light fixture drawing. And the last type of construction drawing is your elevation index drawing, which is technically not the drawing. It is just to showcase you the elevation index for each and every room here. Can you see? And yes, in default for each and every room, the wall elevations will be generated. Remember, this is just wall elevation. This is not your cabinet elevations. Okay, because we are in the construction drawing. Okay, we haven't moved yet to your custom furniture drawing. So all the elevation tags, what you're seeing there, all this are wall elevations. Okay, so if you're having any wall panel, or if you're having any false ceiling, if you want to see the cut of that false ceiling, or if you want to see the, because plan of the ceiling could be seen in your RCP plan of your ceiling, right? But if you want to see a cut section of your ceiling part, or if you want to see the wall panel drawings, all those things, then you can just go for these elevation tags to define it. Okay, for an example, if I want to generate, let's just say that I want to generate an elevation for this side. In those cases, can you see, for this living room, all the 4 elevations are automatically generated. If I click on this elevation tag, it will show you the boundary. This is the boundary of your elevation, which means now if I just look at this elevation here, which is living room A, it will only show the elevations which was marked at that boundary. Can you see here? From this end to this end, that's it. Okay, if you want to see the entire space, adjust the boundary, that's it. Okay, so just go to your elevation index here, select that elevation index tag, it will show you the boundary of that elevation, adjust it accordingly. So in this case I can just move this elevation tag. Yes, you can move it. Okay, using this you should be able to completely adjust the boundary or the extent of that elevation. And now if I generate this elevation, I'll be able to see this part, I'll be able to see it in the elevation. I'll show you. Now can you see? From this wall to this wall I can see. Okay. Wall ceiling, everything. But what about this wall? I mean, I have a dining space here, I have a dining wall there. I even want to make that visible in this elevation. In those cases, go to the same elevation tag, and in this extend boundary, this right and left we are able to adjust, right? This represents the horizontal extent for which you would like to generate the elevation. Apart from this, can you see this extent, the farthest extent from your elevation tag, this one? This will control how long or how distant you want your elevation to be. For say, if I set it here, this is the boundary. Till this part, I will see it in the elevation, and that is the reason why this space was empty, because there isn't anything in this region. If I want to see this wall, then extend this elevation till this wall here, the farthest point of that elevation boundary till that point. And now if I go to the view elevation tab here, you will see that wall, window and everything as a part of that elevation. So now we are able to understand how that elevation boundary boxes impact the extent of your elevation here. Can you see? So now I could see the wall, the dining wall here, the dining components and everything to the point. And most importantly, can you see here? Your false ceiling will be precisely notified, and here you will see the extrusion, the comb, the strip light position. This is the strip light position in section, and this dotted line represents the strip light position in that curve region, and everything is on point here. Okay, so this is how you should be able to generate a wall elevation. Remember, this wall elevation will greatly be helpful in your wall panel design and in your ceilings section design as well. Okay, and if you are having any wall panel in your walls here, if you want to see a section of it, no worries. In your floor plan or in your ceiling plan itself, you can precisely see that cut part. Okay, where that wall panel is being cut. If that wall panel is extended till your ceiling, you can precisely see that there itself. Okay, but yes, this is what your elevation drawing here is, and it will automatically annotate all your wall dimensions here to the point. Okay, so here can you see, even for the false ceiling also, it will denote what is the lowest extrusion point, curve distance, everything will be notified here. Okay, so to this precision, you will be able to generate your elevation. This is just an elevation for one wall, I'm telling. Similarly, for all the walls, can you see, it is automatically generated the elevation. Okay, and yes, even for the kitchen also it will generate the elevation. It is not like construction drawings are majorly focused on your non-cabinetry region. Okay, but that doesn't mean that if I just go for my cabinetry region and if I click on the elevation, it won't. It will generate. You will see it. Can you see? You will see the elevations and everything, but the thing is, these elevations won't have details. Can you see here? The basic cabinet dimensions will be mentioned, but it won't have the details what you need, because these are just basic information. We need more information for a cabinet technical drawing, right? We need to know the internal elevation so that we can understand how the internal components are placed for the cabinet. And we need to know the external elevation, like what you're seeing. We have to look at the base unit plan, wall unit plan, top unit plan, countertop plan. These are all the different standard drawings which you need for a cabinet detail drawings. All those won't be available here in your construction drawing. Okay, but if you want to just have a overlay of what the design is on that elevation, on the wall elevation, yes, you can do. Okay, but always remember, for cabinet technical drawings, please go for custom furniture drawing. That is where you will see the actual. The reason why I'm emphasizing on this point so many times is I could still see many designers who are using construction drawings for the technical drawing, for the cabinet technical drawings. Okay, please don't do it. Please go for custom furniture drawing. Don't worry, that is something that we'll be addressing in another 15 minutes. Okay, but yes, this is what your construction drawing here is. So that way each and every elevation will be there. In this, if there are any unwanted elevations, please delete it. Yes, it is not like you can't have it. You can have it, but here can you see there are so many elevation drawings here. Sometimes it might create some confusion for the designers. Okay, so in this, if there are any unwanted elevations, for an example, I don't need this elevation tag for this region at all. I can just select that elevation tag. I can delete it. If there are any unwanted elevation tag, I can select it and delete it. Another best example is for this kitchen, I don't need this elevation tag here. I can click it and delete. These three elevations is this elevation is also something I don't need. I can delete it. Similarly for these three sides, and this is from the external towards this point here. And in this side, I might need all this. In this side, I don't need this elevation. I don't need this elevation as well. Okay, in this side I don't need this. So any unwanted elevations you have, you can just delete it. That way this will be much more cluttered now. I mean, before it was completely so many elevation drawings, it was a bit confusing. Right now it is in a much more readable way, because you only have elevations what you need. It will mention the room name and its respective elevation A, B, or C. Accordingly, it will get it. Okay. Remember, all the name what you are seeing is as a result of your model. In your model, you would have typed the room type, especially the room name, right? You will see that impact not only in your drawings, even in the naming of the elevation. Till that extent, you will see that room name impact. So make sure that your room name is properly provided for your each and every rooms in your models. Okay. So this is what when it comes to your different types of drawing, construction, and all those things. Now, you might be having this question. See, I told you dimensions for your drawings will be auto-generated, okay? But always remember, there is some misunderstanding which I could notice with designers when it comes to 2D generated in NAADI. Okay, I'll tell you what that is and what is a proper workflow which you need to adhere. Okay, the first thing which I want you to be aware here is the 2D drawing what you're seeing, not only a construction drawing, even your custom furniture drawing, which you're going to address next. Okay, any 2D drawings what you're seeing here is an output of your 3D model, which means in your 2D, if you're seeing any misalignment, any dimensional differences, you might be like, this is not supposed to be this way, this is not supposed to be this way. On most cases, trust me, it is because of the model. So if you're seeing any discrepancies here in the dimensions, or if you're seeing any position misalignments here, on 99% of scenario, it is the same misalignment is there in the model. Once you correct that model and come back here, it will automatically be updated here. Okay, because your 2D is not a separate entity, it is a entity which is linked to your 3D models. So what you are seeing in the 3D model is what you will observe here in the 2D. So make sure that this is always done. A second question which is associated um, with this emphasize here is, some designers will be like, what if I want to just add something in the 2D here, will it get updated in the 3D? No, actually won't. Okay, because like I said, 2D here is the output of your 3D. Okay, if you want to add something in 2D, please go to your model window, add it there in the 3D and come back to the 2D drawing, it will be updated here. But only in the 2D alone, you can't add something here. Okay, any furniture, anything, you can't just add it in the 2D alone. It need to be there in your 3D, that way it will get updated in your 2Ds. Okay, so again I'm telling, 2D here is a mere reflection of your 3D. Okay, so if your 3D is accurate, your 2Ds will be accurate. If your 2D, if you're seeing any discrepancies, any misalignment, it is because your 3D is not properly aligned there. Make that update, come here, it will automatically be aligned. This is the first thing which I like to communicate. The second thing which is a common misconception with many designers who started with the 2D app here in the processes, they feel that 2D drawings generated here is something they can directly download and take it to production. Okay, yes, you can do that, but the thing is, there are certain things which need to be validated. Okay, for an example, here there are some dimensions which might be missing. Here it will be on point, but here also, there are certain dimensions which might be missing, which you might need it. Okay, which might be missing here. In those cases, yes, you can manually add the dimension here too. Okay, there are certain annotations which you wanted in your drawing. In those cases, you have to manually add those annotations too. There are certain hatching which you need to do for a surface, especially for your cabinets. If you want to mention the finish differences, in your shutters between your base cabinet wall and anything of that sort, in those cases, one of the common practice which industry follows is to use hatch to represent the finish differences, right? Those hatches need to be done. So all these things, your missed dimension, annotations, and your hatches need to be done manually. Okay, yes, in this drawing itself we can just do it. I'll tell you how all these components could be done here. Okay, but the thing is, all this won't be auto generated. Okay, yes, dimensions, 90% of your dimensions will be generated here. Okay, that you don't need to worry. It is not like you have to start your entire dimensions from the scratch. 90% will be generated here, but that remaining 10% is for that missing dimension. Okay, so that way you can do it. And the reason why that remaining 10% is remaining there is because the dimension is not a standardized component. Trust me, these factors differ from organization to organizations. Or to just give you a quick example, some organization here, have a practice with regards to custom furniture drawing cabinets, I'm telling. Okay, so in the external elevation of the cabinet, majority of the organization have a practice of mentioning the width of the cabinet there. If it is a double door cabinet, they mention the overall width of the cabinet in the external elevation drawing. That is the common standard. Some organization, they don't mention the width, they mention the shutter dimensions of the double door cabinet altogether. If it is 900, they mention 900 as a shutter dimension there. Okay, obviously shutter dimension will be 1 mm lower than both the sides, and obviously you have your shutter principle, gap principle at the center as well, right? So it will be 2 mm lower than your actual cabinet width, right? So they have a practice of mentioning that shutter dimension. Some organization, they want that shutter dimensions individually, which means if it is a 900 mm cabinet, they want the first shutter to be 450 and another shutter to be 450. So can you see a single dimension requirement for the same double door cabinet, but different organizations follows different standards, right? So since we are a common SaaS provider, this is a common thing which we endure. So to address this only, we go for what the industry standard is. Industry standard of adding a dimension, industry standard of adding an annotation, something is that is common for all the organizations, something that will configure it in the default in the backend. That way, this is how it is. If you're one of the organization who has a practice of mentioning the double door cabinet width in the external elevation, then you're sorted. You don't need to worry. But if you're an organization who have this custom practice of mentioning the shutter width in that for the double door cabinet in your external elevation, in those cases, that is a missed dimension for you, right? You can manually add those dimensions. Okay, you can add it here itself, we'll be talking about it, but those scenarios I'm telling. Okay, so because of these requirement differences is where I will take 90% of your dimensions are generated, but that remaining 10% of that missed dimension, depending on your organization standard, is something that need to be added manually. Okay, so your adding manually is also extremely similar process like what you would have done in your CAD. Okay, pick, drop and do, we'll be talking about it in some time now. It will be as seamless as possible, but yes, those things need to be done. Second thing is your annotations. Okay, some organization have a practice of mentioning the external finish of the shutter and the external elevation of the cabinet as IC and EC. Okay, some organizations, I would say majority of the organizations have a practice of hatching the shutters to mention the difference, and they'll add it as a separate legend there mentioning what is that finish, and they'll do it. Some organizations have a practice of adding a leader for those finishes. They don't attach it in the drawing. Okay, they don't attach their shutters in the drawing. They have a practice of adding a leader for different finishes, right? So in the annotations itself, there are so many practices here. Okay, so what we've adhered here in the backend for the 2D is the standard practice which the industry follows. Okay, so if your organization has some deviations to that industry standard, that is where that missed dimension annotations and everything need to be added comes. And apart from that, like I said, how can I add a missed dimension? Is there any process here? Like I said, yes, it is. On the top here itself, can you see in the menu bar, you will see the dimension, right? Click on that dimension. You will see different types of dimensions here. Linear, aligned, radial, angular. All this, you would share similarities with your CAD, right? Same things here. In addition to that, your DCO is also here. Your dimension continuous. That is also here. Okay, so if there are any dimensions which is missed, you can just click on any of this type, and just like what you do in CAD, you can just pick the point. Yes, it will automatically snap to the vertex. Can you see here? Just pick a point and add a dimension. That's it. As simple as that. Okay, you can do it. So this could be a point like what I did here, or if you want, you can also select the edges as well. If I want to generate the distance between this edge to this edge, I could also select the edges. Can you see the dotted line? It will also snap to the edges, and I can do. Okay, so edges can also be snapped, or your vertices can also be snapped, just like what you do in CAD. The same thing could be done here when it comes to dimension. That way, linear aligned is something that you're already aware. This radial dimension is something that, if let's just say that if there is some curved wall, or if there is a curved design in your wall panel, in those cases there is a common practice to mention the radius of the curve, right? So that it will be easy for them during the execution. In those cases, yes, you can mention the radial dimension. Extreme, I don't have any curved component here, but if you have, just in a single click, it will mention the radius of it. Okay, and angular dimensions, angles can also be mentioned, and you can take it forward. Okay, and here, like I said, what this dimension continuous will do was, once you draw a dimension here and set it at a point, just click on dimension continuous where that last dimension will be continued. Can you see? And I'm literally continuing where I set my last dimension, where I can just keep on adding multiple dimensions here. And the best part is all the dimensions which I'm adding will be aligned at the same level. That is technically what DCO will do, right? Can you see? And once this is done, if you feel like I would like to stop here, please don't press escape. Okay, or please don't press space here, because this escape and space is like a common practice for designers to use if they are using that CAD. This is the CAD workflow, right? But here, if you add any of the DCO, any of the sort, if you want to stop it here, press enter. Okay, so here enter will literally act like a space bar in your CAD or your escape in your CAD. Okay, so just enter, space enter. That's it. Can you see? Your dimension continuous is precisely aligned for all the points. Okay, so to this precision, you can add a dimension here and you can take it. So this is how you should be able to add any missed dimensions. Okay, I mean, these dimensions is not like it is not generated, it is there in the furniture size. In the furniture size, all the internal dimension of each and every space is mentioned there. Okay, but just for your demonstration, I'm just showing you. So this way a missed dimension can be added. Apart from that, another requirement which you might be having is text or annotations. Can I just add any text or annotations here? Yes, you can do it. That is what this text option here is for. Can you see? Right next to the dimension, you have a text, right? Click it. And here you will see this window. Here you have a text option and leader option. Okay. You can add both the components here. So if you want to add a text, remember text and leader are different. Both are text oriented or both are annotation contributing tools only. But these two are different, right? Your text is your normal text, like what you're seeing here. Just click it, type here, and you can just type any text you want and click outside, it will be updated. Same process. Okay, so this is your normal text. If you want to add a leader, just click it, select it from the point, and here you can mention the leader. Can you see? I can just press enter option, and I can even make it, this is technically your M text. Okay, so you can just press enter, you can just type it if you want more text information in a single point. So here I can just type all those things here. And you see, this is typically your M text. Any text here in default will be your M text. Okay, so you can just click it and add multiple text here. Can you see? A simple leader is added. Okay, and if you want to move any of this, just select it, drag it, and move it in a different point. Any point you want, you can just drag it and move it to. Okay, and the best part is it will automatically snap to the alignments. Can you see that green dotted line? That is the alignment line with that text. Okay, so it will automatically snap to the alignment. So if you want to place a text at the same alignment vertically or horizontally, the snapping will greatly help you in that process. Okay, similarly for your leader as well, even after adding the leader, you can just move it at any point. The leader will automatically accommodate to the change. Okay, or if you feel like this diagonal is wrong, I just want this to be a straight and need to be an L, yes, you can define it. Can you see the pick points here? You can just reconfigure the pick point and you can just move that point, and then you can control the position of this text. So that way you have a pick point for the leaders. You can make the alignment based on your requirements here. So these things could also be done. Okay, so your text and your leaders as a part of your annotations could be added to the point here too. Okay, so these are all two things. And now we talked about how we can add a new text, how we can add a new leader, correct? And your dimensions. What about editing the existing text or editing the existing dimensions? That is also something that is needed, right? Because see, the tool has given you some text or annotations, the tool has given you some. In some cases, you might want to edit it, right? For an example, here it is mentioned as area. Some organization, they don't want this as an area. They want to mention what is the length and width of the space instead of area. In those cases, yes, you can edit. How can we edit? Just double click that space and edit, double click that text here and select it, press backspace to remove all the unwanted parts here. Okay, see, I'm just randomly typing, some dimensions here, but you can be precise about it. Okay. Just for an example, randomly, I'm just doing it. Okay. But you can just define it according to any text here. You should be able to precisely double click and edit it. Okay. And not only with regards to your editing, you can also select the text on the right hand side. It will show you its respective dim style. Yes, you heard it right. In your CAD, will use your dim style to change the font size, color, alignment, position, everything, right? You can do the same thing here. Can you see? Once you selected that dimension, or once you selected that text or dimension, on the right hand side, you will show it. So here, right now, I want the font size to be 8 mm. I want the color of the font. Just click on this color. It will show you your index color and your RGB color. Both will be there. You can just select it. Okay. Or if you want to type in any index codes here, you can also type it. You will select that, or RGB code where you can type your X value and RGB value as well, depending on which you can define that point. You can control the alignment, center alignment or side alignments, and your vertical alignment. This is horizontal alignment. This is your vertical alignments that could be done. And not only that, you can also add a mask too. Yes, in your CAD, you have a practice of adding mask, right? Similar things. See, for an example, right now, this text is placed on top of the hatch, so your hatch will be visible there. In this case, you can just add a mask so that it will mask your hatch only in the text region. Okay, this is what mask will do in any software, right? The same thing is available here too. In addition to that, if you want to add a boundary, you can just click it and a rectangular boundary will be added around it as well. So these are all the things that could be done in a toggle here. And obviously you can rotate the text as well. Right now it is vertical. If you want to rotate it to 90°, you can do all this editings here itself. So these are all the different text editings which you could do just by selecting it and doing it. Okay. Similarly, if I select any dimensions also, let's just say that I want to change the dimension, dim style of a dimension, just select that dimension. On the right hand side, you will see its respective dim style. Yes, just like your text, your font size could be adjusted for the dimensions. Right now, let me just make it as 10. I can control the text color in that dimension here. Can you see? I could control the alignment, whether I want my dimension to be always aligned at the same alignment as my dimension line here, or whether I want to manually rotate it. Okay, because in some cases, especially in this scenario, you might want to even manually rotate the dimension and make it horizontal, right? In those cases, yes, you can use this to select it as fixed angle, and then you can rotate that angle depending on your requirement. Your dimension line will be there, but your dimensions will be rotated. So those things could be done here. And apart from that, all my dimensions here, my project here is in mm, which means all the dimensions which are generated in your 2D in default it will be mm as well. And it is understood that this is mm. Okay. But in some cases, you might want to mention the unit right next to the dimensions there, right? In those cases, just click on this unit. Your unit will be added right next to the dimensions. So those things could be done. Your masking could be done just like your text. Your borders could be added for the dimension. Not only that, this is all related to the font in this dimension, right? What about this dimension line? What if I want to change the color of this dimension line? That is what this dimension line is for. Can you see? Here I could just change the color of the dimension. I'm just randomly selecting one color, but yeah. Not only that, can you see there is one extension line here, right? I could also change the length and color of the extension line. To that position I can define. So if I want to change the color of the extension line, which is this line, I can control the length as well. Let the length be about maybe 1.5. Can you see? As a result, it will be updated. And now can you see this dimension? What we selected is completely updated based on the edit what we did. Okay, so all those things could be done. Not only that, right now, if you notice, this is the actual dimension, right? This is the actual dimension taken from this point to this point. Okay. In some cases, you might want to edit this dimension, right? Especially right now, this is 1874. In some cases, you might want to be like, I want to round it off. I want to make it as 1170 or 1175. In those cases, here right now, what is an actual value, right? What is there in your model? If you want, just go for custom text and here just type what distance you want. So 1000, I can just type it here, press enter, it will be updated. So this is like where I am redefining or I am editing the complete dimension. It's not the actual dimension where I'm changing the dimension. In those cases, you can use it. Not only that, this has a feasibility to go for alphanumericals, which means in some cases, especially for your lighting fixtures in your ASAP drawing, it is a common practice to mention EQ, right? Equal distance. In those cases, yes, you can also use this to mention those things as well. Just type it as EQ, it will be done. So this way, apart from the actual dimensions, if you want to edit it to any other part, you can define it 2 points here. So this is what this actual dimension custom text is if you want to customize it. And obviously it is understood that the fact here is this is mm, my project unit is mm, the dimensions are in mm, right? What if my project unit is in mm, but based on your contractors or your client's requirement, you want your drawings to be in feet and inches? Or let's just say that your model is in feet and inches, but if you want to take it to production, your 2Ds need to be in your mm. In those cases, you don't have to change the model unit. I mean, obviously, if you change the model unit and come here, it will be updated. But you don't have to do that. Instead, here, can you see under precision, you have units, right? I can change the unit. Yes, if I change any unit here, this will be updated only for my dimension. It won't affect my model units. My model will still be in mm. Only the dimensions of these drawings will be changed. So that way I can set the unit, reconfigure the units for the dimension, and I could round it off to precision. 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, 132, all those things could be done. If it is like feet and fractional inches, if it is a decimal component, in those cases, then you can just round it off to decimal numbers or whole numbers as well. Can you see? Round it off up to 3 decimal numbers or round it off up to whole numbers too. So all those things could be done here. So this is what your dim style of your font here is. If you notice so far, the anything that has to do with your dimension, text, adding, editing, everything shares extreme similarity with your CAD, right? And that is the reason I told you any missed dimension or annotation, you can add it here itself, make it proper. Okay. And now I generally get this question right after this topic. They might be like, I edited this dimension, I edited this text. Now, do I need to do the same thing by clicking on each and every dimension and doing it? I mean, that will take time, right? Instead, if you have this kind of a requirement in CAD, what would be your general process where you edited one dim style? Now, if you want other dimension also to go for the same dim style, in those cases in CAD, you have a practice of adding using your match property, right? You use match property to do it. Similarly, here we have something known as format painter. Okay, and the shortcut for that format painter is this. Can you see? M is the shortcut. It is there in the floating window. So once you select any dimension here, it will show some floating window. Yes, we even address this in your modeling as well in your respective foundation course. Always remember, this floating window will have some important tools to edit that selected component, whether it is modeling, 2D, anything. If you're seeing this floating window, it will always carry some important tools which will help you to edit that selected component. So in that way, one of the tool here is your format painter. Can you see? Shortcut is here. Click it. Now this format is copied. Can you see? And now if I just click on any other dimension here, the same format will be applied. Can you see? Or if you feel like I can't do this one by one, I want to do it for all the dimension in this drawing. Yes, you can do that. Hold shift in your keyboard, drag and select. Just in a single click, all the dimensions will have that. Yes, you can also drag and select too. For that, you have to hold shift in your keyboard. Can you see? This is how we can do. And if you noticed, in this only the dimensions have experienced a change. Your text is not experiencing it because your dimension and text are two different categories. I copied the dim style from my dimension. It will get updated only for the other dimensions. If I copy the dim style of my text here, And now if I do the same process, it will get updated only for the text. It won't affect your dimensions. Can you see? Can you see just in seconds? It is updated for the dimension, right? So this is what it is. So this way you don't have to just do it on a massive scale. If you want, just edit the dim style for one text here, use format painter shortcut is here and apply it. So it is almost like your material brush, same shortcut as your material brush too. So you can consider that as a material brush for your dim styles here. But yes, this is how you should be able to add a or edit a new dimension or an existing dimension and take it to your requirement. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, and apart from that, we already talked about both those auto annotators, right? So like I said, this auto annotate acts as a refresh tool. It will just refresh and check if there is any update which is done in the 3D model, and it will make that required changes in your model as well. Okay, most important thing is without affecting any manual edits. Yes, for an example, if I just manually added some dimension, edited it here, if I just make any changes in the model and come back, just click on this auto annotate, only the edited component will experience the change. Any manual edit what we did will just remain the same. Okay, before that was not the scenario. Before, if we click auto annotate, the entire drawing will get refreshed. Okay, but to avoid those segments, we configured it. Now we have an option. I'll tell you that. In your settings tab, can you see on the top right, you have a settings tab, right? In your 2D window itself. There, under preferences, here you will see different 2D preferences. Okay. So it is better you leave everything as default except the one which I personally feel that it's very important, which need to be modified. But yes, others can be in default. If you want, just be aware what you're changing it here and you update it. Okay, and if you're making any dimensional, any preference changes here, please, if you're reporting any issues also in the 2D, just notify us like these are all the preference changes you did. Okay, so that we can look at your 2D issues from that point of view. Okay, so if you are changing preference here, okay, so except the one what I'm addressing now, rest all, if you're making any preference, you please notify us right after you faced any 2D issues so that we are aware of it. Okay, so that way, one of the important preference here, which I would request everyone to update here is, there is something called auto annotate rules here. Can you see? In this, on the right hand side, it is mentioned as keep modification. In default, it will be clear modifications and annotate all. That is how it will be default in your IDs. Okay, clear annotation is like any modification which you did will be removed, and it is like completely regenerating the dimensions. Okay, so that is how it would have been in default. You please change it to keep modification and only the annotate changes, which means even though I click on this annotate option, my modifications will be kept. It won't affect any manual edit which I did. Only the annotated changes, only the add-ons which I did for the models here will be experiencing the change. Only those annotates will experience the change. Your manual edits will remain the same. So from this point, just select it as this one and keep it. This is a one-time set which you have to do for your IDs. If you're having more than one ID in your organization, make sure that you select this and update it in all your IDs. Okay, so this is, and apart from that, others you can just leave it as default. Okay, if we feel that any other thing will give you a drastic modeling efficiency, we'll definitely let you know in your respective WhatsApp groups. Okay, but for now, just auto annotate rule alone, you can just something that you can modify it. You can go for. Okay, you please change it as an important update here. Okay, so this is what, once that is done, yes, you can just click on auto annotate. Only the modifications will remain. The modifications will remain. Only the changes will be updated here. Okay, so this is what your dimension, text, and all those components is. Okay, apart from that, we already talked about your elevation tags and everything, right? Where for all the rooms elevations are generated, right? But in some scenarios where you might want elevation beyond what is generated here, right? So for an example, what if I want the elevation of this wall? I mean, it is already generated here, but for an example, what if you want an elevation of something which is not generated here? In those cases, can you see there is something called generate here, right? In that, place your cursor, you will see two drop downs. Your first option here is your elevation, right? Click it, and then you can manually place the elevation tag. Can you see here? depending on which wall you're placing, it will automatically align it. As you take close to any wall, it will automatically align itself. So depending on where you want to place, just take it close to that wall, it will automatically align. Once that is done, just click it, the elevation tag will be added. Okay, once it is added, then click on that elevation tag, control the boundary based on your requirement. Okay, and then you can take it forward. If you want to move this elevation tag, you can just move it, and you can click on view elevation. Now that new elevation will be added here. Okay, so despite your auto generated elevations, if you want to add some more elevations, yes, you can use this option to add it. This is where you can manually add your elevations. Okay, in some cases you might unknowingly delete an elevation tag. For an example, in this scenario itself, if you notice, I've deleted many dimensions here, right? Many elevation tags here. That was a volunteer decision, so that it won't look a bit of a messier, right? But let's just say that I unknowingly deleted an elevation tag like what I did. In those cases, then how can I get it back? Like what I did, yes, you can just manually place one dimension in that region, I can add it. Or there is something called in your elevation. Once you click this elevation tab, on the top here, there is something called auto place. Can you see? Once you click it, it will ask you to reset. Just reset your elevation tags. If you click on reset, all the deleted elevation tags will be regenerated and it will be added. Can you see? All your elevation tags are precisely mentioned here, right? So it is like a reset option for your elevation tags. If you unknowingly deleted an elevation tag, if you want to reset it, yes. But remember, this is a reset. It is not just adding a new, it is completely resetting the elevation tags here, which means previously you would have adjusted the boundary for one elevation tag. Even those will get resetted. Can you see? Before I adjusted the boundary in a different way, right? Now after reset, this is came to my default position. In that case, then I have to again adjust the boundary and take it forward, right? But yes, you also have a reset option for your elevation tags as well. You can also use that and take it forward. So that is for this auto place option. This is with regards to your elevations. If you want to manually add an elevation or you reset your elevations. What about call out? That is also one of the common requirement, right? Yes, that is also there. Can you see the generate option? You will see a call out. Shortcut is Shift D. Okay. See, remember your majority of the tool which you'll be using commonly will have a shortcut. For an example, your material brush, delete, your dimensions. Can you see X, V, R, all the dimensions which you commonly use will have a shortcut here. Same thing for the text and leader too. Okay. So in the initial phases, just take a conscious effort to memorize the shortcuts, because shortcuts will increase your modeling efficiency. I mean your output, your working efficiency. Okay. At the initial phases, you can just manually select, but once you're familiar with the process, start focusing on your shortcuts as well. So that way, any common tool here, you will have a shortcut defined for it. Like I said, place your cursor, it will tell you the what is the shortcut for that region is. So that way, the shortcut for your call out is Shift D. Just click it, and now you can just place the call out here. Yes, let's just say that I want to add a detailed view of this region alone. Okay, in those cases, I can just click on this call out and add a call out boundary here. Can you see? Once the call out boundary is added, it will even add a detail name as well. So this is your call out or your detail A. Okay, and this call out will be visible in your plan. So now if I just download this plan, I can precisely see what you're seeing here, a boundary with an A detail there. Okay, and once that is done, now if I want, I can just click on this elevation. I can click on this boundary, click on view call out. You will see the actual call out of that. Okay, so here if you want to add some details, or if you want to mention specific to that selected region, you can do it. For say, if you want to mention the dimension of this salon here specifically. Okay, so for these elements, this will be greatly useful. Okay, so make sure these are all the points which are defined here, and you can take it forward. If you want to just add a text here, and you see those texts will also be added. Okay, so this is like, if you want to add a detail of a specific component in that plan, yes, you can add a call out view. Okay, and can you see it is added under a separate tab here named detail view, right? You can use it. So this way, if you want to add a call out, yes, you can also do the process too. Okay. So this is what your call out tab here, and now we can take it forward. Okay, and apart from that, the last and the very important option here is your symbols. Okay, so the symbols might look like a menial factor. Okay, just click it, you will see some generic symbols. Can you see your square, circle, arrow, cloud? This is your revision cloud. Okay, this is something that I've commonly noticed designers using here in the symbols to add any revision cloud or something. All these are defined symbols. Okay, you can just take it, place it here, and you can control the dimension of that symbol. Can you see? If you want, I can precisely do it like this, or I could also use this toggle to manually reduce the dimension like what I do here. So those things could be done. You can rotate it, you can change the color of the symbols as well. So if you want, you can add these two. These are all some generic symbols. But I mentioned this is a very important tool which you'll be quite often using, right? The reason is in the symbol tab here on the right hand side, there is something called library, right? Click it. And here you will see your public library of symbols where you have some handful of symbols here. But in your enterprise tab, you will see your electrical and plumbing symbols. Yes, this is something you might need to generate your electrical drawings or your plumbing drawings, right? All those symbols are available here. Can you see? Okay, so your different gang switches of single point, or your this is a single way, this is your two-way switches, this is in plan, and this is in elevation. So a symbol here will be added in both the faces as well. What are all the symbols which you generally use in your elevations, and the symbols what you use it in your plan? Both the symbols will be there. Okay, so this is a switch socket in your plan and switch socket in your elevations here as well. Okay, so that way all the common electrical and plumbing symbols are also notified here. Okay, you should be able to apply this too. Okay, for an example, let's just say that I go for a lighting fixture position here. So now let's just say that I want to add some electrical symbols in this region. Okay, in that case, let's just say that I want to go for a a 3-gang switch with one socket. Okay, in that case, this is a 3-gang switch and this is a one-way switch. So I can just click it, place it in that region, and you can rotate it. Like I said, any symbols here, you can refine it, right? You can rotate it, change the color of that, and all those things could be done. So that way I can just rotate this. Okay, or if you want, you can also manually rotate. Can you see a manual rotate option is also here? If you want to do, yes, you can manually rotate too, and you can place it. Can you see it will automatically snap to the surface? Can you see that green dotted line there? It will snap to the surface of the wall. So that way you can just add a symbol. And now if I want to add, I can also do that too. So this way, if you want to add some electrical symbols, yes, that is also cataloged as a part of your electricals and plumbing drawing. That is also there. Okay, or if you want to mention the your plumbing's water inlet, water outlet, all those things are also there. All your commonly used plumbing symbols. For say one of the commonly used will be water inlet, that is here. Okay, and next one will be your water outlet, that is here. Inlet and outlet, and this is the inlet for your RO, inlet for your geyser, and this is your gully. So these are all the common plumbing symbols which are used, which is also added, and these are all the plan symbols. Okay. So to that position, everything is added. So if you want, you can just devise and create your using these electrical symbols. You should be able to devise it as well. Okay, so electricals and plumbing symbols are also here. You can define it. I'll tell you what is the next improvement which you are working on this electrical drawings too. Right now, while placing these electrical drawings, we don't have an option to add a reference line. Okay, because if we have an option to add a reference line, it will be much more easy for the designers to precisely snap to that reference line and take it forward, right? So currently, that is something that we are working on. Okay, to add an option for a reference line in your 2D so that your electrical drawings will be precisely snapped. But till then, you can use this polyline as a reference line. Can you see the shift L? This is just a line in the form of your symbols. So if you want, let's just say that if I want to place something at a distance of 200 mm from this point, then just click it. It will snap to the point. Here you could mention the length. Can you see? You added that, and now we can just take it and precisely position it accordingly. So this way, if you want, you can position it this way. Okay, till this point, you can use this polyline. Then you can just select this polyline and delete it. Okay, so if you want to add something, if you want to use some reference line to place a component or so, for now, you can use this polyline as a reference line. But we are working on systems to actually add a reference line which will help you in your electrical drawing process too. But yes, your electrical drawings can be created here in this process. The symbols need to be manually added, but in your plan, all your decision, all your electrical points, everything in your ceiling and everything will be automatically notified. Your electrical symbols beyond that can be added here manually. Okay, so this is another important thing, and this is the reason why I told you this is very important. Okay, so this could be done here too. If you feel like there are some symbols which are missing here, you could also notify it in your respective WhatsApp group, and please share us those electrical symbols alone. Please don't share it as an entire drawing, because we might not able to figure out what is the symbol you're trying to understand. Just share us your CAD drawing of your of your electrical symbols as a legend or something, which will have the electrical symbol and its respective names, so that if something is missed here in the library also, we can just add it and improve the library as well. Okay, so but yeah, this is what it is when it comes to your different editings which I was talking about, right? So these are all the things that could be done. Okay, so this is what your construction drawing and editing. See, right now the editing what we did for the construction drawing applies common for your custom furniture drawing too. There isn't any difference there at all. Okay, so only the type of drawing differs, but editing like what we addressed so far, dimension, text, symbols, generate, everything is exactly same to any type of drawing here, including your custom furniture drawing, which is something we're gonna address now. Yes, so that is the second part now, which is your custom furniture drawing. Okay, so like I said, custom furniture drawing is all about cabinets. So make sure that your cabinet or your cabinet for a space is properly modeled. Okay, so for that example, I've taken this project here. Can you see? This is a project of a kitchen space along with the utility, where I have modeled my design completely, right from cabinets, handle style. If it is a CNC, if it is a ventilation grill, make sure that is added, or if it is a CNC grill, CNC based ventilation, then make sure that door style is properly added there. If you want to apply a finish, please apply it too. If it's a profile shutter, do it. If you want to add a strip lighting here, make sure all this are added here in the model. The thing is, all this will be seen in your 2D drawings. So make sure your model is accurate here based on your requirement. And if you are doing this, please make sure that your filler placements are also done. Your base fillers, wall filler, loft filler. In addition to that, your horizontal loft filler is also done. Okay. Make sure all these factors are done here. Okay, and if you want to generate your ceiling, false ceiling plan for this kitchen space or two, make sure that your false ceiling is also designed, so that later we can generate your lighting fixture position drawing, your construction drawing for this kitchen, where you can generate your false ceiling designs. Okay, so if that is also there, make sure you model it up. Let your sink, your countertop, your hob along with the chimney, everything is there. Okay, in case if there is any any other appliances here, make sure that is also added. Can you see I've added a washing machine here? I've also added a fridge here, because that is there in my design. Make sure your model is this detailed. Okay, if you want proppings to be there in your 2D, so in most cases when it comes to 2D, designers, they don't want props to be visible in your 2Ds. It need to only focus on the cabinet and its informations. Okay, but if you want your props to be visible in your 2D, then make sure that your prop is also added in the model. Okay, just make sure that your model is complete. Okay, and most important thing, please make sure that your cabinet placement is proper. Okay, make sure that the depth are properly aligned for your base unit, wall unit, and loft unit, because this is where I commonly noticed a your misalignment, your dimensional misalignment in the 2D. Okay, they mentioned that there is a misalignment, but that is technically the model misalignment here, which is getting reflected in 2D. So make sure that this is all done. See, the thing is, if you follow the modeling workflow which was addressed during your professional course, you won't face any of this issue. The snapping advantages, right? Just do it one by one. Place one cabinet, adjust the width and depth in the first, and right after that you just have to snap a new cabinet to it. That's it. Only you can adjust the width, the depth and height will be automatically maintained. Okay, so if you precisely handle that snapping advantage, this will literally avoid all this misalignments, inaccuracies, because the tool itself will automatically align your depth and height, right, based on your previous cabinet, right? So make sure that that is followed here so that your model misalignments won't be there. Okay, once this is all done, your cabinets, your the space where you have the cabinets is properly modeled, then you can just go for your drawings and generate custom furniture drawing. But the thing is, right now I'm in the main modeling window now, right? Where I have public library and everything. In this, if I just go to drawings and schedules, I can only see construction drawing. I can't see custom furniture drawing here. Can you see? Construction drawing is what we addressed now, right? The drawing which could be used to generate the details for drawings other than your cabinets, right? But this is the detailed drawing, the technical drawings for the cabinets. For that, I need custom furniture drawing. So to access it, you can't access it in your main modeling window. You'll here only see the custom construction drawings here. If you want to access it, you have to go to your cabinet modeling window. Yes, you have to either go to your kitchen or your closet, depending on the type of cabinets. So in my case, this is a kitchen. So you have to go to kitchen and bath here. And only in this modeling window, if I just go to your, now can you see here? I will see the third type of drawing. This third type of drawing was not visible in the main modeling window. But since right now I'm in the cabinet modeling window, go to the same drawings and schedules, there you will see this third option, custom furniture drawing. Okay. See, please, get yourself familiar with the terminologies here. Construction drawing is like your design drawings other than your cabinets. Custom furniture drawing is your cabinet detail drawings. Okay. So just click it, and this will open up this window. Okay, so here the thing is, there are three types of custom furniture drawings which you can generate here. Okay, one is your room drawing, which is the most commonly used custom furniture drawing. Room drawing is nothing but this will generate the detailed drawings for all the cabinets in a specific room. In my case, it is kitchen and utility, right? So that way, for each and every room, it will generate the detailed drawings for all the cabinets which are present in that room. Okay, that is what your room drawing is. On 95% of scenario, that is something, yes, I'm sure about 95% of scenario, that is something that you'll be using it. Okay, then comes in your product drawing here. Product drawing is something which I've not majorly seen organizations using it, but this product drawing, it will help you to generate the detailed drawing for a single cabinet. For a cabinet basis, it will generate a drawing. For say, if I select the product drawing, I have to select what are all the cabinets I want. Only for that selected cabinets, it will show you the door view, plan view, internal elevation, and your side views. That's it. It is completely focused on that specific product. You won't even see what is the cabinet which is present right next to it. Only for the selected cabinet you will see it. Okay, so that is your product drawings. Okay, so anyways, in this masterclass we won't be talking about your product drawing because that is not a requirement which organizations go for. But if you're interested, what I'll do is by the end of the session, after I'll just share you one video demo in all your respective WhatsApp group. Okay, where I would have recreated a product drawing which I took as a reference image using this. Okay, so if you have a glance at it, you'll precisely understand what that product drawing and what is the scope for it. Okay, so but apart from that, there isn't any major scope which designers use on the prospects. Room drawing is something that you'll go for. And like I said, by the end of the session, we'll be talking about this annotation drawing too, right? We'll also address it. But this room drawing is something that we're going to address now in your masterclass, which is the drawing which 95% of designers use for their cabinet technical drawings. So once you just select it as room, here you just select whether it is kitchen or a closet, depending on type of cabinet, and select the room drawing, click on generate. And this is a room drawing, right? So the tool is asking you for what room you like to generate the drawing, whether you like to generate the room drawing for your kitchen or for your utility region here. Okay, it is asking you. If you want to generate for both, yes, make sure both is selected. If it is selected, you will see both, everything will be in blue color. Okay, or if you want to just generate for one space alone, then just deselect the other space. Just by clicking it, it will deselect it. Only the space that is selected will be highlighted in blue. Or you can also the name of the space here. That way you can select or deselect too. Okay. In my case, let me just select the drawing for both the spaces here. Just select it. Once that is done, at the bottom you have generate drawing, right? Click it. That's it. Now the tool itself will understand your models, your cabinet modeling, and it will generate the detailed cabinet drawings for this kitchen and your utility space here. Okay. So now can you see this is the same edit window which it has opened where we talked about your construction drawing. Let's see edit window. Okay. Like I said, edit views where your drawings will be generated. You can edit it in terms of dimensions, annotations, hatching, and so, and you can take it forward. Okay. So now can you see this is what it is? And once it is generated, I can just click on this custom furnitures, and can you see custom furniture views? And here I will see different types of custom furniture drawing. So in this is a room drawing, right? So first it will mention the name of the room, kitchen, and the unnamed, which is this one, because I haven't named it. Remember, if you haven't named that room here, this is how it will look here. Okay. So make sure you properly add a room name in the model for that. So yeah. And for each room, it will tell you it will generate the different drawings. So for say, if this was my kitchen here, can you see it has generated my base unit plan? Okay. And the best part here is if a wall has a cabinet in that room, it will automatically generate the elevation tag for that wall as well. Can you see here? In this region, this wall and these two are the walls which are having the cabinets, right? So it will automatically generate, because it's a parallel kitchen. So it will automatically generate the elevation tag for those two things. Okay. So that way, this is your base unit plan. This is your wall unit plan. Okay. So if you have a wall unit or yeah, so if you have a wall unit in this range, it will automatically denote all those components here. And this one is your one room floor plan, which is technically your loft unit plan. Okay. If you're having a loft, you will see it. If you don't have a loft, then you won't see any drawings here. In my case, yes, I have loft on both the sides. I can see it here. Apart from that, you have elevation tags in your base unit plan, right? Which means both the elevation for both the sides are generated here. Okay. So that way, can you see here? This is your default dimension. This is your base unit plan dimension. Okay. Can you see? Right from filler to the width of each and every cabinet here, as it is automatically generated. Okay. That way, the overall dimension and the depth of this cabinet is mentioned here. Similar logic applies here too. Can you see? In this scenario, if you notice, there isn't any missed dimension here. Like I said, it will be generated, but still, depending on the organization requirement, there might be some dimensions which you might miss as a part of your drawing standards. In those cases, yes, obviously, like what we addressed, you can manually add a dimension here. Okay, but in default, it will generate for all. This is your base unit plan. Okay, let's just say that I want to go to this elevation. Then click on this elevation tag. Same boundary will appear here. You can just control the boundary and control. And once that is done, just click on view elevation here. And here for each and every elevation tag, it will generate two elevations. First one is your internal elevation. The first elevation, what you see for a site will be the internal elevation. Can you see? 1A elevation, which is your internal elevation. For the same side, you will see 1A wardrobe elevation, right? Door view, which is your external elevation. Okay. So for each and every side, in default, it will generate two elevations here. Okay. So this is your external elevation of that side. Can you see? So internal and external elevation for both the side will be generated here. You can take it to point. Okay. So this way here, if you notice also, can you see all the dimensions here will be properly aligned. Okay. So here one thing is, I'll tell you this logic. Here you can notice some dimensions are mentioned at the bottom, some dimensions are mentioned at the top, some dimensions are mentioned at the side. Okay. This is actually on point. Okay. I'll tell you once I explain this, I'm sure that you will understand what this is. So always remember, dimension for your base units in that elevation will be mentioned at the bottom. Can you see? 100, 956, 250, 800, 550, and your this thing. Apart from that, if you're wondering what is this 2160, 550 and all those things, this is your skirting dimension which I added. Can you see here? In this region, I added a skirting. And the reason why I made this as 3 separate skirting in the model is, first thing, obviously, the panel constraint, right? Beyond it can't go beyond 2.4. Okay, yes, please be precise on those factors too. So far, as a designer, you would have not considered those aspects. We might just add one huge filler on the entire skirting or entire filler. Okay, that is fine. Okay, but the thing is, we are taking our projects near to production, right? We are moving your project close to production now. So it is better that some basic production constraints are taken into consideration while modeling it. In that, one of the common thing which I noticed designers started doing it recently is the skirting. That's a very good thing. Okay, so before, those designers have provided one single skirting for this entire region. Now, considering the production feasibility and construction differences, they made it. So that way, can you see? This is one skirting, this is another skirting. Because this is a cylinder region, I have a skirting mode, so I have to add a separate skirting for it. And this is the remaining skirting. Okay, and these are all the dimensions for that skirting. Can you see? Okay, and if you want to know what these dimensions are, like I said, you can just understand it from the first glance itself. But in some cases, if you're not able to understand, just click on that dimension. It will show you the peak point of it. Can you see? From that peak point, you can understand what is that dimension here is for. Can you see? It will show you the peak point of that dimension. From that, you can also understand it. Okay. But can you see? These dimensions is something that has to do with your base unit alone and the overall dimension of that region. And this is for the float. Can you see? Now, when it comes to the top dimension, this majorly focuses on your wall and loft dimension. So that way, starting with first one is your wall and loft. Here, if you notice, one common thing here is this entire prospects. Can you see? This is the loft dimension, what you're seeing. So this is the 100 filler. This part is this double door, this one, and this one. Your loft dimensions are set. Apart from that, what is there on top of the loft, which is your filler, right? It will mention the filler width. Can you see? So I'm just trying to, yes, here also Merit has two separate fillers here. That way the verticals will be matched and practicality is also taken into consideration, instead of just extending it beyond 2.4. And these 1028, all those things are nothing but your wall units. Can you see? Here, these two are my wall units, right? So these are all the dimensions for those wall units. Okay, so to this point, yes, it is automatically mentioned. Okay, in some cases here, you will notice the fact here, if some dimensions are aligned at the same level, if you notice here, the loft and the walls are aligned here at the same point, right? In those cases, it won't repeat the dimension. Okay, it will automatically add one universal dimension because both are aligned at the same position, right? That alignment the tool can detect from the model itself. Okay, for say, if I made this wall unit bit lower than this loft, in that case, then here you will see another dimension being added here for that part. But since everything here is aligned, both are having same width here, it will automatically make it as one single unit, because that is the standard we follow, right? When it comes to dimension, if it is aligned, we'll make it as one single dimension and take it forward, right? Same logic is done automatically by the tool here itself. Okay, this is called deduplication. Okay, so where if that is removed, then you will see two dimensions being repeated at the same extent. Okay, that will be like unwanted dimension. So that is like the duplicated dimension. So for that, in the backend, we follow something known as deduplication process, where the tool will understand the model alignment. Based on the model alignment, it will decide what are all the repetitive element dimensions there based on the alignment similarity, and it will avoid it. Okay, so yes, so that is actually the output what you're seeing here because of deduplication. Okay, similarly, this is your width. This horizontal dimensions is always about your width in your elevations, right? Similarly, this vertical dimensions is about your height. You should already be aware. So this is the filler height, the loft cabinet height, and here I've placed a fixed panel. Okay, between the wall and loft cabinet, I placed a fixed panel here, so that the panel thickness, the height of this wall cabinet, and height of this part. Okay, similarly for the base cabinet, the height of this one and height of this. So all the dimensions what you need for your cabinets is automatically mentioned here. You can directly take it forward. This is one thing. In this, some common requirement which you might have it here is the countertop thickness and your backsplash height. right? That is a common requirement which you might encounter, right? Those are all the missed dimensions here. Yes, you can manually add it too. Because here, if you notice, all the dimensions here are corresponding to your cabinets. Okay, countertop and this black splash is something that is out of your cabinetry scope, right? So that is why it is here. I mean, comes within your design scope, but it is not something that is part of cabinetry, right? So that is why it is taken out, because those are all the things which you don't need to take it to production, right? So that way it is not mentioned here, but no worries, you can just add those things and consider that as the missed dimension, which falls within that 10% I told you, right? You can add it here and you can take it forward. How to add it? Like I previously said, you have dimensions, you can just click and pick the 2 points, you can add it. Or if the same scenario existed in your CAD, we can do that a new dimension, we can add it and align it, right? So similarly, we can do it here too. So like I said, you can just pick the top point. If you want, you can just select from the vertex here, from the pick point here, or you can also select it from the plane here too. This is the 40 countertop. I can click it and I can align it here at this point. Can you see it will automatically align? It will snap to that level here. It will automatically align. If you want, I can do this. Or in your CAD, there's also another thing which designers will do, where they will extend, they will add another dimension to it, right? They will add a new dimension in continuation with this one, right? That is also there. That is what you will see as one of the tool in the floating window. Again, I'm telling, we talked about floating window and its importance, right? So if you select any component, it will show you its respective floating window, which will have the tools which will edit you to select that component, right? In that one of the edit, we already talked about your material, your format painter. We already talked about your delete option. If you want to delete this dimension, yes. In addition to that, there is something called add or reduce dimension. Can you see? Using this, you can just add a new dimension in the same alignment. Can you see? I'm literally continuing that dimension. I can just add it. And I can precisely take it forward for all the aspects here. Can you see? So till this point, I should be able to take it and I can do. So I can just literally continue adding dimensions to the fragments here. So to this precision, you will be able to define it. And once this is done, like I said, don't press escape or space. Have a practice of pressing the enter button. Okay, that could be added here. So if you want, yes, you can extend it from an already existing dimension here to cover up the missed dimension. Or in some cases, you might not have any dimension existing there. In those cases, you can just add a new dimension. But yes, that is what your add or new dimension, what you're seeing here. Okay. In addition to that, for an example, let's just say that there isn't any alignment differences. Yeah, consider that. Consider that these are all the cabinet dimensions, right? So this is the loft part here from this point to this segment. This is this unit, right? Now I want to align this dimension at the same level as this one. In those cases, what you need, this is about alignment. Okay, so positioning at the same verticals and horizontals. In those cases, like what you do in CAD, I can just select that dimension and I can manually move it. And don't worry, you have a snapping option. It will automatically snap to the alignments. If you want, you can manually do that as well. Or if this requirement in your CAD, you have an option called dimension aligned. You have an aligned tool, right? Dimension aligned tool. Okay, using that also here we have a similar thing. Can you see we have something called aligned? Shortcut is Control A. That is the first tool in the floating window. Okay, if you use this, and now if you just select other dimensions, if you want to have it in the same belt, you should be able to align all the select. Now can you see all the selected dimensions will move as I move my cursor here. It is like I'm making it aligned at the same level. So this way, even if some dimensions are not aligned at the same level, you don't need to worry. You can use this align tool to precisely align it all together. Or like I said, you can also select one dimension and manually move it. It will automatically snap to the alignments. So that is also feasible here in that process. Okay, so those things could also be done. Okay, and apart from that, another thing is right now, can you see these are two different dimensions? This is how I want it to be. Okay, but consider the fact like I want to make this into one single dimension. Okay, in those cases, you could also merge a dimension. Can you see? You have a dimension merge. Shortcut is Control M. That way, I can just select one dimension of it, click on merge or press Control M and select another dimension which is in link with that, and that will be into one single dimension. So it is like merging two different into one single dimension. So that is also available here too. So merge dimension is also there. You can use that. Okay. And apart from that, if there are any multiple dimensions here, you could also select all the dimension link. For say, if I want to select all the dimensions in this level, in those case, I don't have to, yes, one thing is I can hold the shift and I can multi-select one by one and I can do it. Or I can hold the shift, I can drag and select and I can select it. Any dimension which falls within that drag will be selected. Or if I want to select the single chain of dimensions, just select one dimension in that chain. And here you will see this option name select dimension chain. Shortcut is E. If you click it, that single line of dimension will be changed. Now, if you want, you can align it, you can move it, you can club that into one single dimension. All those things could be done. Or if you want to delete it, also you can do. So these are all the different dimension related editing tools which are available in your floating window. Okay, and this is actually the reason why I told you this floating window is very important in your process. Okay, so yes, your dimensions are generated, but if there are any missed dimension, like I said, you can use any of this method to devise it. This is one thing. The second thing which you want to manually add here, like I said, apart from the missed dimension, is your annotations, right? So you can just do that. So you can just go to text, and there you will see text and your leader. Just add your annotations here. Okay. So because I could notice, many organizations have a practice of adding an annotation at this point in these segments, and you will take it forward, right? You can do that too. Okay. So let's just say that this is a fixed panel. I want to mention that this is a fixed panel. I can just click on the leader and pick a point there, and I can add it. Okay, click it, and here I can add it. Let this be like, or if you want to just in a multi text, you can just press enter, so that'll come to the next level. And don't worry about these dimensions. Like I said, dim style could be altered, right? So I can just select this leader. I can change the size of it. I could change the color of it, color of the font here. I could control the position, like I said. And not only that, I could control the alignment, mask, all those things could be done. Okay. In addition to that, right now, if you notice, this dimension is placed perpendicular to this, right? If you want, I could have this dimension on top of this line too, which means, can you see? The line, the dimension, the text will be placed on top of that leader line. Okay. Or if I want this text to be perpendicular to that leader line, I can just do this like the alignment differences. Okay. And you can change the color of this leader to using this one. Okay. So to this precision, you can just add it. Okay. And the best part of this leader is right now, I even have to have a leader on this side too. I want to mention the same thing here. In those cases, then I don't have to again do the same process. If you want, you can do it, but you don't have to. I already have one, right? I can just press Control C. Control C is the duplicate option, right? Yes, that is also here. Okay, for any text, you should be able to press Control C and take it. So that way, let's just say that there is one lighting strip which is placed here. Can you see? If I want to just annotate that lighting, I can just place it there, double click it, and edit it. So in this case, I could be like, just for a random example, I'm typing it here, but yeah, can you see? Those things could be done too. So this way, if you want to add a leader, and yes, you can just move it any point here and you can do it. And not only that, just like of your dimension, your text and your leader also has some floating window which have some important tools. Okay. One of the important tool which we'll be using is for say, can you see? You have so many important tools here, right? In this one is your mirror. It is like right now, this is on the right hand side. If I want to just flip this on the left hand side, that dim, just in a single click, I can flip it up. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing here is your duplicate copy, which is Control C. We talked about it. And the next here is your add leader. Yes, you can add multiple leaders. So for say, if I want to add a multi-leader and mention these two here, I can just click on this multi-leader and I can just select the point. So multi-leader is like where I have two leader points with one single text to notify. You can add those multi-leaders as well. If you want to add more than, yes, more than one also, you can just add it. But once it is done, just press enter. Now can you see a multi-leader is added here too. So yes, if you want to add a multi-leader, those things could also be done. And dim style, if you want to format painter, is also there. If you want to apply the same visual format to other dimension for the other leaders or text here, and delete is also here. So this way, if there are any annotations that are missed, you can add it this way. Okay. Some organizations also have a practice of mentioning the finishes on top of the shutters itself. So that is not a common practice, but some organizations I've noticed they are doing it. In those cases, yes, you can use the normal leader here and add a text. And once you added it for one, you can just use Control C to copy it and paste it at multiple points here. So here I could be like, internal finish could be they say randomly I'm just typing one finish here, but yeah, if you want you can just mention it. Okay, or if you want to just add your internal finish as well. Okay, and you can control the size depending on the requirement. If you feel that there is a subtext which need to be there, yes. And once you created it, you can just press Control C and place it at multiple point. Okay, and then you can edit it by double clicking. You can edit it. Okay, so yes, I can press Control C and place it at multiple points. So in this way, if you want to add your annotations like this, yes, you can add it here itself. Okay, this will save you, or this will just add you that feasibility there too. Okay, so that is also feasible. And apart from that, another common requirement which designers come across in their elevation, especially the external elevation here, is your hatching, right? So you have that common requirement to add an hatch, right? Especially to denote the finish differences. So yes, here you can add an hatch. If you are able to select a surface, you are able to add a hatch here. Yes. So for that, just have to first select the surface. In this case, just select the surface. On the right hand side, it will show you the property of that selected surface. Yes, in your 2D drawing also, you have a parameter tab. Okay, so there can you see if I just select it, it will show you that region's property. In that, one of the property here is surface filling. Can you see? Remember, here in NAADI 2D drawing window, surface filling is nothing but your hatch. Okay, it's a different terminology here. It's a literal terminology, but yeah, that is what hatch here is. So if you want, you can just click it and I can add an hatch for it. So in this case, if I want to add an hatch, just select it. It will open up our hatch catalog. Yes, can you see? You have so many hatch options here. Just like in CAD, you can just select an hatch based on your requirement. Once you selected hatch, the hatch will be applied. Now, if you notice the hatch is larger in scale, I want to reduce the size, right? In those cases, there you have something called proportion. Right now, it is 1200 mm. This is nothing but your scale of your hatch in your CAD. Instead of 1000 let's just make it as 120. So the scale of the hatch will be small. If you want, you can rotate the hatch as well. Can you see? And not only that, you can change the color of the hatch too. So yes, you have all the feasibility to do it here. So I can change the color of the hatch. In this case, if I'm just going in for, yeah, this one, I can do from your index or from your RGB color. Both are feasible here. But can you see? Your hatch is added. Okay. And you can follow the same process and select the other shutters and you can take it to hatch. Okay. And now you might be having this question. I mean, if there are just so many shutters here, do I need to individually select each and every shutter and do it? That will take some time, right? Instead, what you could do is, you don't have to do that. Instead, just select one shutter. And here, if you notice, there is something called quick select option. Can you see the second option here? There, if you notice, there is something called same object, right? If you click it, all the same objects will be selected in the point. For an example here, can you see? all the similar shutters will be selected. Okay, so it is like selecting based on the category. If you want to select all the shutters, you can select it. If you want to select all the carcass, you can select it. That way you can just select, and you can use the similar to do it instead of just manually selecting one by one. If you want to do that, yes, you can still do that too. You can just hold shift and select one by one too. But even if you don't want to spend time on those aspects, yes, you can use the quick select. Okay, so click on same object. In this, if you want to deselect also, you can just do it. So right now, can you see in my case here, all my base units along with fillers and all my loft unit along with fillers have the same dimension. So I can just select this and here go to surface filling and add an edge for it. And now I can just change the proportion, color and finish off it. Just in seconds, those edges will be added here. Can you see? Similar logic applies. For say in my case, this wall units here follows a different edge. So in my case here, this unit, this, and these all follows a different edge. Okay. So in those cases, yes, I can also use this too. Okay. So I can just select these components and add a different surface filling for this. Maybe for this one, I could just go for this. See, I'm just randomly selecting, but you can just be precise in the process. Change the scale, rotation, and finish off it. Can you see? These things could be done. Apart from that, this one is a profile shutter, right? Your aluminum profile shutters. In some cases where organizations even have a practice of adding one solid finish, a black or a gray color to mention the aluminum profiles, right? In those cases also, you can just do that. Okay, but the thing is, initially you can't directly select that profile. It will select that entire shutter. Okay, so in those cases, what could be done? Because only if I select that profile, I'll be able to apply an edge for it. If I select that entire shutter, profile shutter, including the glass, the same edge will be applied. In those cases, then how can I micro select that profile alone, not the glass of the profile shutter? Yes, that eventually leads to another important thing, which is your micro selection. Okay, so if you select any component here, it will select that entire component. If you select the shutter, it will select the shutter altogether. But if you want to select only a specific component in that cabinet, then remember here in 2D, I'm telling you, remember shortcut is Control Shift 1. This is a one-time toggle which need to be done. Okay, for a project, for a single time. Once you refresh this and again you get inside the same drawing, you have to do it again. Okay, so remember the shortcut, it is Control Shift and 1. Once you press that, now if you notice, I can micro select individual panels here. Before I was not able to do it, but now I can even micro select each and every profile here. Can you see? So that way I can just select one profile, click on same object, all the profiles here will be selected, and I could commonly apply an edge for it too. So maybe I could just go for a solid color edge, and I could just go for a great one. Can you see? Similarly for the glass too. If I want to apply one glass edge for all the shutters here, just select one edge, click on same object, all the glasses will be selected here in that elevation. And here I can just add a glass edge here. Same process and apply it. So yes, to this precision, you will be able to apply an edge for the surface, either a solid edge or any other pattern defined edges here too. Okay, and it doesn't stop with the edges alone. Okay, if you just select any object, surface filling is just one component, which is hatching, right? Apart from that, can you see there is also something called project line? Project line is nothing but your actual project line. So in this case here, if you notice in this segment, can you see? I have a project line or outline. I can just click it and I can define what should be the pattern of that line, the outline of that class. I can define what should be the pattern of it, the line type. Whether I want a regular line or a dashed line or a dotted line, I can just define it. Not only that, I can define the line weight for that selected line too. And I could define the color of it too. So to this precision, you can do. Okay, all this is not something that is new. Line style is also there in CAD, right? You can do it here too. To this position, you can define it. Okay. For each and every selected surface, you should be able to edit the project line, your outline line to the point here too. Okay. So this is what it is. Okay, when it comes to your hatching, outline changes and all those things. But once it is all defined, you can do it. Okay. A best example here. Can you see here? There is a strip light which is added here, right? In this region, can you see? So in this segment, I want to make the strip light in a different color. I want to add an orange color for it. In those case, just select those strip lights here. Okay. And here on the right hand side will show you the light source. Okay, it will de-notify it. So here you can just click on same objects. It will select all the strip lights which are present in this elevation. Can you see? Here I even added an internal strip light within this also. That is also getting selected here. Okay. And commonly for all those things, you can just change the color here. Okay, you can just change the project line or the color and you can define it. So in this case here, can you see? Instead of this, maybe I could just go for an orange tone here. Can you see? Or if you want to add an hatch for it, if you want to add a solid color for it, yes, you can also do that too. Okay. So right now I'm selecting this column and I'm just changing it. But if you just use select similar, you can define it. So to this precision, you will be able to define the factors here. Can you see? Okay. So you can do that too. So this way you should be able to, if you are able to select something here in your 2D drawings, you should be able to change the hatch line color and take it forward. Okay, so this is what it is. This is how you should be able to manually add an hatch to a drawing. Okay, so yeah, all these factors could be done. And if you want to add a symbols here, electrical symbols and all those things, you can add it here itself. Okay, and once this is all done, I'll show you one sample drawing which I generated this weekend here. So this is for the same project. I generated a elevation drawing with the focus on the electricals and plumbing. So here, can you see? So this one is the external elevation drawing where I added hatches, all the components. Can you see? So to this precision, you will be able to define it here. Can you see? Annotations, all the annotations have streamlined this. All these are manually added annotations only. But I added it here using the leaders option. I streamlined my dimension here, changed the dim style of it according to my standard, and I added it here, right? And here I even added the symbols, the electrical symbols, the current electrical symbols in my project here. This is the external elevation. Next one is the internal elevation here. Okay, so in the internal elevation, can you see this is your internal elevation? Can you see each and every dimensions are generated in this? If you notice, the default internal elevation which I generate, which I usually get here, will only have the vertical dimensions. Okay, because that is generally what the intent of an internal elevation is. It needs to mention what is the distance between the shelf, and all those things will be precisely notified here. Right. In addition to that, if there are any missed dimension which you like to add it, you can add it just like what we did. Okay, so in those cases you will get your, if you add it like, can you see, this is how the output you will get here. I've added the vertical internal width or the horizontal dimension for each and every cabinet here. Okay, this is not a common standard, only the height is the major requirement here, but if you want to add it, yes, these things could also be done. Can you see annotations? And here this is an internal elevation. It is a common practice to mention your electrical, your previous, if there is a shift in the electrical points, compared to your civil versus your design. In those cases, it is a practice to mention that in your internal elevation, right? So that way, I add a socket here which was moved to this part. Can you see? So I moved it. So from this point, I'm notifying that I moved it to this region. All these are symbols, the electrical symbols which are there in your tab, right? Using that, and this arrow was there in the symbol as well. I have added it to denote that I moved it from this point to this point, right? And all the circles are your inlets and outlets for your plumbings. Okay, that is also notified here. Okay, so to this position you can do, and similarly I generated a lighting fixture drawing for this kitchen. and this is what the output is. Okay, so lighting fixture drawing is where we talk about the false ceilings, right? So yeah, so false ceiling design with dimensions here. Here, majority of the dimensions are auto-generated. All these dimensions are auto-generated. Some dimensions alone I manually added it here. For say this dimension, I manually added it because there isn't any need for it. We already have a bisected dimension here. But despite that, to make it much more detailed, I added one dimension here. So these kinds of dimensions, you can add it. All these are auto-generated dimensions only. Okay. And apart from that, can you see the symbols here? The electrical, the plumbing symbols, inlet, outlet, outlet, inlet for the RO. And there is one washing machine here. So for that inlet and outlet, and there is one sink here for your dry kitchen, the inlet and outlet for it. And this is your wet kitchen inlet and outlet. This is your RO inlet. So can you see here? This entire process is much more streamlined, right? And these are manually added. These annotations where plain ceiling at 100 mm, this was manually added to text. These true ceilings. Okay, these levels were auto-generated. Okay, and these axes were manually added to represent what is the true ceiling and what is the false ceiling. I notified it through Azure too. This was manually added, like what we followed, the exact process what we followed here. All these are false ceiling here. That is also added. So can you see this? If this is properly used, you will be able to get an output as similar to this one. Okay, so yeah. So this is what the feasibility here is. Okay, and all the drawing outputs, what you've seen there, that exactly follow the method what was addressed now. Dimensions, annotations, and hatching. Okay, aligning it properly, making it, added the missed component, adding the hatch depending on the requirement, and taking it. Using these process itself, you'll be able to get that output. But yes, this is what your 2D drawing, your custom furniture drawing, and its feasibility here is. Okay, and like I said, you will generate different types of drawings. In that, one of the drawing is your countertop plan as well. Okay, so this will precisely mention the dimension of the countertop. It will mention the finish, the stone what you applied for the countertop there in the model, and if there is a cutout in the countertop here for a sink or hob or so, it will precisely notify that cutout as well. Okay, and the dimension for that cutout will also be mentioned here. Okay, this is your countertop plan for the kitchen. Okay, you don't have the countertop here. This is where the fridge is going to be. And most important thing here is, can you see it has even denoted the frontage of the countertop using an arrow mark. All these are auto generated. Can you see? So this is what it is when it comes to your 2D. So this is what your custom furniture drawing and its feasibility is. Okay. Yes. So this is one thing. Another thing which I would like to majorly address here is with regards to the display style. Okay. See, whether it is construction drawing or your custom furniture drawing like this. Okay. Right now, we are notifying the finish. This is just a color line drawing, right? If we want to notify the finish also, we have to either use a hatch or a text or a annotation like this to notify all these factors. Okay. But there is also another display mode here. If you shift it up, it will show you the actual finish of the cabinet in the model. Okay, and that is what your display mode. Can you see at the bottom left, you have something called display mode here, right? Click it. And here, right now, we are in the color wireframe mode. But if you want, just shift it to realistic. If you made it as realistic, it will show you the actual finish of your shutters and everything in your external elevation drawing. Can you see here? These are all the actual shutter finishes. It will eventually get updated here. So this is like a illustrative way of mentioning, or illustrative way of giving the drawings. You can also follow this, but just remember, this color mode is something that I don't prefer at the initial starting phases. The reason is these color mode drawings are resource intensive drawings. Okay, resource intensive drawings in the sense, if it is a line drawing like what we have, if you download that line drawing, it will be in KB. If you download it as a PDF or an image, or even if you download it as a CAD drawing, yes, you can download any drawing what you generate here as a CAD as well, DWG file as well. Okay, but if you download any of these drawings, it will be in KBs. If it is a color wireframe drawing like this, or a black and white line drawing like this, because line drawings are one of the efficient drawings which you could download. Okay, and since it is basically line and 2D components, if it's just a single color, you'll be able to even download it in a you'll be able to download it in a GIF. You'll be able to, if even if you open this drawing, it will just open up in your GIF, in your PDF, in the downloaded PDF. Or if you open it up, it will just open it up in a seconds there. Okay, and even if you print that PDF, it will be instantaneous because it is one of the less resource intensive way of your drawings. But this color mode, this realistic mode, what you're seeing there in the display mode, this is an extremely resource intensive thing, which means even if I just add this and shift it from one tab to come back to this again tab, you could notice that there is some loading which is happening here because it is resource intensive. Okay. Second thing is, even if you download this drawing, you could notice that the download time for that drawing will be much more elongated than your line drawings. A line drawing, if you download it here, it will just take you seconds. That's it. But if you download a color or a realistic mode drawing like this, since it is a resource intensive drawing, it might take around maybe a minute, 2, 3, or sometimes I've noticed some complicated drawings, a large scale project drawings, it has even taken about 3 to 4 minutes to download one single drawing. Okay, because it is a resource intensive drawing if it is a realistic mode, so it will take time to download. It doesn't stop there. If you open up the downloaded drawing, it will take time to load the drawing as well. Yes, your PDF will be much more intensive. As a result, if you notice the size of that PDF of that realistic mode, it will be in MBs. It will be like some 10 MB, 20 MB. I noticed for a project it was even going in for 160 MB too. Okay, for a large scale project. In those cases, yes. Okay, so that is what the impact. And even if you just print that color wireframe drawing to your printer will take a longer time to load it and to print it up. Okay, the reason is all this are resource intensive drawings. Okay, so my personal recommendation is to always go for color wireframe, which is a common industry standard. Everyone going for it. You can also go for it if you want to mention the material difference. Like I said, edge could be used, or like we mentioned, annotations could be used. Some organizations even use leaders to mention the finishes as well. You can go for those methods. Okay. But if you're planning to use the realistic mode here, yes, you can go for it. Only advice here is download one drawing at a time. Okay, because if it is a color wireframe mode, you can download multiple drawings in a single PDF. Okay, it will just take seconds. That's it, not more than that. But if it is a realistic mode drawing, if you download multiple sheets at a time, it will take sometimes 10 minutes also to download. Okay, and and to avoid it, it's better that you download one sheet at a time. Okay, because sometimes if the loading time is exceeding the backend timeout, then it will show an error stating that the download has failed. Then you have to again re-download it and you have to do, so that entire wait time will be wasted for you, right? To avoid it, if you are sure that I wanted like a resource, a realistic drawing like this, if you feel like let it be resource intensive, let the loading time, let it take time, or even if I print it up, let it be fine, let it take time to print. If you're confirmed to that aspect, only then you download your high resource, color mode drawings, but you download it one drawing at a time. So that even if the timeout crosses that loading time, at least the drawings which you download one by one will be much more quicker to download and take it forward. Okay. So yes, so these are all the different display modes, the advantages and disadvantages of those display modes here as well. Okay, so if some of your designers have already worked on the master assignment as a part of your onboarding, you precisely know what I'm talking about this now. Okay, so in the master assignment, that is the reason we consciously made it as an illustrative drawing, so that you could understand the complications or the intricacies with regards to downloading the drawing. Okay, so but yeah, so this is what it is when it comes to your color mode. This is one thing. Okay, and apart from that, another common queries which I'll get at this point is where the designers might be like, can I just delete any component here in the 2D? If I don't want something, let's just say that I don't want this shutter, can I just delete it? No, you can't delete it. Okay, because like I said, 2D here, what you are seeing is the mere reflection of your 3D. Just because you deleted a shutter here doesn't mean that you'll get. So yes, you can't delete any 2D component here. If you want to delete it, go to the model, delete that shutter by select by paths, Come back here, it will be updated. But in your 2D window, you can't delete any component. But you can hide it up. Yes, if I want to hide this, let's just say that I want to hide this so that I can see the internals of it in this external elevation itself. In those cases, I can just select the shutter. Okay, remember for selecting the shutter, I pressed Ctrl Shift 1 before. Okay, so that I can micro select. That way I can just select the shutter here. And here in the floating window, can you see the hide option? Shortcut is H or Ctrl H. If I click it, it will hide the shutter. You can literally see the carcass point here. If you want to unhide it, here at the bottom, can you see you have the show or hidden, right? I can just click it and make it as unhide all. If you unhide all the components which you hid will be unhidden. Okay, let's just say that there are some 2 components here which I have hidden it. Now if I click on unhide, then both the shutters will be visible. If I want to just unhide only one shutter here, in those cases, then instead of unhide all, click view hidden objects. It will show you a meshed, view of those hidden components. Can you see? It will show you these 2 are the hidden components. In this case, if you want to just unhide this one, just select this, unhide it. Now this is still hidden, only this is getting unhidden. Now we can just come back to this and deselect it or keep, hidden objects invisible. Now only the unhidden objects will be seen, that hidden object there which will still be there. Okay, so that way if you want to unhide it all, or if you want to specifically make some components to be unhidden, you can just use this aspect as well. Okay, but like I said, you can't delete any component here in your 2Ds. If you want to get deleted, please do it in the model and come back here. Here it will get deleted automatically if it is updated in your 2Ds. So yes, this is another common query or a common thing which I'll get in the support, which I would like to address here too. Okay, so yes, this is what it is. And another thing which I noticed here is, see, right now this is end to end, this is fine. In some cases, you might notice like some cabinets are getting cut in the middle here. Okay, where the boundary is just getting stopped at the middle of the region. It's not there for the entire floor. Okay, in those cases, you please don't panic. At the bottom here, you have something called your boundary extent. Just click it and you will see the boundary extent of this elevation. Can you see? If you want to increase the height or decrease the height, you can just control it and you can increase it. Okay, on most cases, you don't have to do it. The need for it is almost minimal to null on 90% of scenario. In some cases, you might notice where the elevation height of it will be cut at the loft level itself, at the 3/4 of the loft level itself. The remaining 1/4 and the filler might be missing there. In those cases alone, just use this to increase the top side. That way you will see those components too. You can just increase it to any height you want. Okay. So that way you will see till that part, and then you can just again click it up to unhide it. Okay, in those cases alone. But 90% of scenario, you won't have a requirement to use that part. But yes, this is what it is. Okay, so now we talked about your drawings, your different types of drawings, and now we can edit it and take it forward, right? Fine, I edited the drawing, made it ready like what you're seeing. Now how can I download it? Like I said, edit view is only to edit, generate and edit a drawing. If you want to download these drawings, you have to go to your drawing layout. Yes, drawing layout is like the layout tab in your CAD, where you will take the drawing what you generated, place it in your sheet template, and you can take it forward. Okay, and once you go to your drawing layout here, can you see the UI of the drawing layout will be a bit different. You have the same menu bar, but here you will have some different set of tools. And on the right hand side, you have an insert tab here, and on the left hand side, you still have that sheet list, right? Different types of drawings and all those things. Okay, and here if you notice, for each and every drawing, here it is created as a separate sheet. Can you see here? Your base unit is automatically created as a separate sheet. Your wall unit created as a separate sheet. One room floor plans created as a separate sheet. Each and every drawing is made into a separate sheet. If this is what you're looking for, okay, then you can directly download it. Okay, but before downloading, make sure that your sheet template is changed, because this is one generic sheet template which you would commonly notice in your ITs as well. Okay, for some organizations who have shared their 2D sheet template, we've already configured and made it available in the backend for you. For some organizations who have notified us, it is in the cataloging process. We'll soon update it and we'll keep you posted. And many organizations, they still don't know the feasibility that we should be able to configure your 2D sheet template. Okay, yes, we can do that too. We've configured for many organizations in the backend. Okay, so if your organization has a pro license ID, you can just share your 2D sheet template to us. That 2D sheet template need to be shared as a DWG file. Okay, and if your sheet template has your organization logo, make sure that the organization logo is also a CAD logo. Okay, please don't add it as an image because the 2D sheet template in the backend can't read your images. Okay, so make sure that you have it like a CAD logo of your CAD logo of your organization, and then you place it there, and then you share your sheet template. We'll validate it because there are some list of guidelines. We have to make sure that your sheet template is precisely matching those guidelines. Once it is validated, if there is any difference, we'll make the edit, we'll make it done, and then we'll transfer it to the backend. Okay, but for that we need your 2D sheet template which you conventionally follow in your organizations with your organization logo as a CAD. Okay, if your organization doesn't have a CAD logo, in those cases you could share us the image of your logo, your HD image of your organization logo. Okay, and then we'll try our best to just make that image logo into a CAD logo, and then we'll try to place it there. If you're sharing it as an image file, then the CAD logging in the backend might take some time because we have to create a CAD logo for your image and then we have to take it forward. So in our backend it might take some time to create that CAD logo from your image. But if you already have a CAD drawing of your organization logo in the sheet template, then the cataloging will be in a bit more quicker process from our backend. But yes, please, I take this opportunity to inform everyone to please share your organization 2D sheet template so that this will much more increase your 2D drawing process here, because right now everything could be done seamless. One concern which you might have is with regards to the 2D sheet template. Okay, but once it is uploaded in the backend, we'll notify you. Once that is done, what you could do is, right now can you see for all the drawings, this is the generic sheet template which you'll see. Okay, what you could do is on the top here in your drawing layout window, on the top here you have something called replace frame, right? Click it, and this will show what are all the different drawings which are generated for this project. Can you see here? Your renovation views, your custom furniture view, everything is there. In this case, click on custom furniture view. Then you have your unnamed and kitchen. And in this kitchen, can you see all the type of drawings are there? Just select it. If you want to just change the sheet template for all the drawings here, you can multi-select it this too. Or if you want to change it for all the drawings here, you can also click this one. It will automatically select all the drawings. Your construction, custom furniture, everything will be selected here. Once this is selected, click on replace, and here your organization sheet template will be available. Okay, so yes, these are all the different sheet templates which we configured in the backend of different organizations. So for an example here, let me just select the sheet template, click it open. This is a generic sheet template which is devised for NAADI, but yes, this way, once your sheet template is updated in the backend, you'll see your organization sheet template there. Just click it, click on replace. For all the selected drawings, your 2D sheet template will be updated. Can you see? For your base unit plan, wall unit, everything, your 2D sheet template is updated. This is the sheet template of NAADI. Okay, depending, accordingly, based on your sheet template, what you're sharing, we'll be able to configure it up. Okay, and you can share your 2D sheet templates either in A3 or A4, and it could be a landscape or a portrait format. Okay, that is not an issue. But make sure that your sheet template is precisely A3 or A4. Okay, so yes, this is what it is. Okay, so this way you can update your sheet template for the drawing, and here you will see all the elevation drawings which we generated. Okay, so this I'm explaining with regards to your custom furniture drawing. Same logic, same process for your construction drawings too. Like I said, your construction drawing is also available here, the right, the renovation views. So you'll get the same output there as well. Can you see here? And now this is actually based on it. Okay, can you see here? The dimensions are just placed far away and all those things because that is how it is there in my edit view. Okay, if I want to edit it, then just click on the drawing, go to edit view. It will open up the selected drawing in your edit view now, and there you can do the edits. Can you see? You can just select it. You just reposition this up because that is taking all the unwanted sides, right? So I can just reposition it according to the dimensions here. And this is the dimension I don't need. I can just delete it. And as you make changes in the model here, it will eventually get updated there as well. So in this case, I don't need this dimension and the overall light. Can you see? I made some changes here. Okay. Once it is done, no worries. Just click on this drawing layout tab, and there you will see you can just go back to the same drawing what you created. And now can you see the dimension here is also getting aligned, right? So yes, the drawings which are there in your drawing layout is always in sync with the edit view. As you make changes to that drawing in the edit view, it will be updated in your drawing layout tab as well, like what you're seeing now. Okay. So yes, this is what it is. And that is one of the best part of generating 2D drawings in NAADI here. Okay. Because your edit view is always in sync with your models. If you make any changes in the model, it will get updated in the edit view. If not, you can use that auto annotate to get it updated. And if it is updated in the edit view, in the drawing layout view, it will automatically get updated here. So it is like do changes in the model, in the drawing layout, the changes will be updated here because all these are linked. Okay. And this is where you will actually reap the benefit of the NAADI 2D here, especially if there are any design modifications, because you might just do it and there might be a design modification, design changes, because design is always prone to change, till you get that final sign off. Design is prone to changes, right? During that time, there might be n number of changes which you might do. As a result, your 2ds need to adapt to it, and all those things will happen. And this is one of the reasons why majority of the organization, they take 2D as the last part, because they don't want to change or revamp their 2D each and every time. That is a extremely time consuming process. But here you can follow the same thing to make it efficient. Okay. But that shouldn't be one of your restrictions. Even you generated 2D at the initial phase, don't worry about it. Make changes in the model, come back here, it will be updated. In the same 2D sheet layout, it will be updated here. Okay, because your models and 2Ds are linked. Okay, so this is what it is. And right now, if I just select this drawing, on the top, can you see it is showing the scale of the drawing, right? I can define it. There are some standard scales here, or I could also go for any custom scaling as well. So these are all the things which you can do it. Okay, so that way, can you see for each and every drawing, you can just configure the scale, configure the dimension alignment there in the edit view so that everything will be proper, and you can place it in your sheet template and take it further. Okay. But what if you want two drawings in a same sheet? Right now, one sheet is having just one single drawing. But what if I want two drawings in a same sheet? Because here, can you see each and every sheet just has one single drawing. But I don't want that. I want two drawings. For an example, I want a sheet which has the internal and external elevation in a single sheet. For an example, I'm telling. In those cases, you don't have to just, here itself you can do, but in those cases, it is like you're creating a new sheet configuration, right? In those cases, instead of going to custom furniture sheet, go to your sheets tab. Can you see there is something called sheets tab here, right? Click it. And here you can custom create your new sheet and configure it. For say, can you see? I can just custom create a new sheet. I can just type the name of the sheet. If you want, I can create another sheet as well. I can just type the name. Once it is done, first I can just change the frame here. So I can just select both the sheets and change the sheet template here. Okay. Once the sheet template is changed, then I need to, this is just an empty sheet template, right? Now, where can I get the drawings? Where can I get the drawing which I edited in my edit view? You can get all those drawings on the right hand side. That is what this insert tab is. Can you see this insert tab has three fragments here, right? View, pictures, and tables. In your view tab, there you will see the same folders, the same folder what you've seen your renovation, custom furniture, everything, the same things here. In this case, I want a custom furniture drawing, right? Which is your cabinet detail drawings. Click on custom furniture. It will show both the rooms here, the utility room, which is named as unnamed, and your kitchen. Let me just go to kitchen, and there you will see all the drawings what we generated. Your base unit, wall unit, loft unit, internal, external elevation, everything is there. I can just click it, place it in the project. As simple as that. And once it is done, I can just control the scale. In this case, let this be about some 30. Okay, I guess 30 won't be enough. Yeah, let me just go for some 33 scale here. Okay, 33 is not a appropriate scale, but yeah, I'm just going for custom scale. Anyways, here it is mentioned as NTS. Okay, so that is one thing. And right now, I can just take another drawing here too and precisely position it. Can you see here? And the best part is both those drawings will be aligned. It will automatically snap to the alignment. So that way, can you see your external elevation and internal elevation can be combined in a same sheet here. Okay. So to this position, you will be able to define it here. Okay. If you want to add a base unit, plan, wall unit, that way you can just add multiple drawings, organize it in a single sheet template, and you can take it to download. Okay. So those things could be done. Apart from that, if you want to add a text, let's just say that you add it. Now you want to mention the drawing type, right? The name of the drawing. In those cases also, you have a text. Just click it. On the top, you have text, right? Shortcut T. This is a text option which you could use to add a text in your sheet. Okay. So here I can just add a text. Let this be like, let this be like external elevation. Then select that text. I can change the dim style of it. Let it be 10. Let it be in color. I can control the alignment, rotation, all those things. I can mask it up, add a boundary. But once that is all done, I can place it. And I need to place another heading here too. So for that, I can press Control C. Is copy. I can press Control P. Yes, here Control C and Control V works. Copy and pasting. So here I can just take this. Okay. And I can place it. Okay. And don't worry about the placements. Can you see the dotted snap line? It will automatically align your horizontal and vertical dimensions in the point. And now I could just edit this. So your external elevation and your internal elevations. So this way you can just add any heading if you want to mention. All those things could be done. Okay. Apart from that, another common requirement which you might have here is renders. You might be like, I have taken renders for this project and I would like to add it some renders here. Yes, those things could also be done. Okay. The thing is, I haven't taken any render for this project, so I don't have it. But if you have taken any renders, right now we are in the view tab of the insert, right? View tab will have the drawings which was there in the edit view. Instead, go to pictures tab and there you will see the renders which you have taken. Okay, these are all the renders which have, I don't have a render here. These are all the uploaded images. Yes, you could also upload your own images here too. Okay, but if you have taken any renders, those renders will also be visible. You can directly just click it and place it in your project. I haven't taken any renders for this project, so it is not visible here. But you have, it will be here. In addition to that, if you have downloaded a render also, don't worry, you can just upload any of your image from your systems too. So for say, in my case, I want to add this reference image here, or consider this as one render. Okay, if I want to add this, this is not a render. Okay, this is a TV unit Pinterest image. But just for an example, just take it, click on open. Now that selected image will be uploaded and it will be added here. Once it is done, just click it and place the renders here too. Once it is placed, you can control the size of those renders and you can completely play with your layout configurations here. So this way, if you want to add any images here also, you can add it. Your renders will be automatically, or you can directly take it and do. Okay. In addition to that, here, if you notice these are all the electrical symbols which I manually uploaded here because there is a requirement for me to add an electrical symbol in the drawings here, and I want to mention what those electrical symbols here are. So in those cases, what I did was I took a snip of this electrical symbols and I added it here. Yes, you can also take a snip and update it too. For an example, okay, just for an example, I'm telling. See, right now I want to mention what is this hatch mentions. Okay, so let's just say that this hatch represents the Greenlam SD 1T5 through finish. In those cases, then I have to add a legend for this hatch, right? In those cases, you could use your normal snipping tool in your system. Use the new tab to just snip it in a rectilinear base. It is copied, right? Once it is copied, go to your drawing sheet, press Ctrl V. That's selected will be added. Can you see? Now I can just reduce the size of it. And this is something you could use it for your finish legends. So it could be like this is, if this is the finish, this represents so and so finishes from this brand and this. And for another example, there is also another finish here, right? So for that, I could just use the snip tool to create a square snip. And here I could follow the same process. Can you see, as I just copy pasted here, can I see those images are also getting updated here? Can you see that? Okay, so this way, if you want to add a legend for your finish, yes, you can even do that too. Okay. So these things could be done, and then you can use the text to literally mention what is that finish. So it is like then you can position it accordingly. So if you want to denote your finish here as well, yes, you can do it in the same process. Okay, then you can just Control C, Control V and place another text and edit it. So this way you can just add your finish legends here too. And I've used a similar method to add a legend or the list of things for the electrical symbols. Okay, not for this drawing, for another drawing where I need to mention what that finish actually represents, right? So for that, I zoomed in, I took a snip of that and I updated it. Okay, or in your case, to make this process much more efficient, you can just download or plot your electrical symbol legend as one single image and save it in your system. Okay, and in all your projects, you can just upload that legend image here. It will get updated and you can directly place it in your sheet. Okay, so that is also a much more efficient method. Okay, if you already have it like a separate legend, just plot it as an image file, and then you can just import it and use it for any projects, instead of just taking the symbol for each and everything and doing it, because I don't have a legend there. Okay, so I was snipping each and everything and doing it. In your case, if you already have a legend, then plot it and keep it as an image. That way, in a single click, you can just apply it and add a legend here. So those things could also be done. Okay, and apart from that, the last requirement which you might have here is the tables, right? So that is also there. Can you see pictures right next to it? You have tables here too. So if you want to add some table here, just click on this table, place it. Okay, this is some generic table here. You can just click on view edit tables there, unlock this, click on confirm, and now you can configure this template according to your requirement. You can just add another row, another column, how many rows. You can just do all those things. In my case here, I want to add another row down. I need to add another column to the right. Okay, so here maybe I could just be like, I can add it. Okay, and as you make changes here and click on, say I'm just randomly typing something here, but yes, as you typed here, just click on complete. The table will be updated. Can you see? Now we can reduce the size and position it accordingly. So if you want to add some tables, for say, if you want to add a table, to mention the list of finishes, or if you want to add a table to mention the list of symbols, or if you want to add a table to mention the list of appliances, okay, or if you want to add a table to mention the list of accessories, in those cases, yes, you could create those tables here itself. Okay, and then you can just take this image, upload this, and you can just place it exactly at that point to mention it. Okay, or if it is a list of finish, then you can just create that table alone here, where with number of rows and number of columns, and then you can just take this image and place it exactly at the points and mention what is the finish. So this table is where you can just create a table. That's it. Okay, in your CAD, you have an option to add a table, right? Where you can just define the number of rows, number of columns, and then you edit it, right? Similar kind of a process here too, if you want to manually add a table here. But I could notice majority of the organizations have a practice of adding the table in their sheet template itself. Instead of just doing it here, they are just adding that sheet template. In the sheet template itself, they are just adding this list of finishes, and they are adding a table there as a part of sheet template. If your organization also follows the same practice, then you don't need to worry about adding it. Okay, you already have a table there in your sheet template. I mean, my sheet template doesn't have, but if your organization have it, it will be uploaded and it will be automatically available here. Just directly copy it and paste it in that region and add a text and take it forward. Okay, so yes, but if your organization don't have that table, you could also manually add a table using this table options here. Okay, here they would have mentioned as accessory table, but don't get confused by this. Consider this as a normal table. You can control the editing, the heading, name, type, everything. You can just control it. Okay, you can define it. And once you edited all these things, you made your sheet here. Okay, the last thing which is remaining is the sheet template informations. Yes, these are all the informations which need to be modified as well, right? So what we'll do is, for some of your sheet templates, for your sheet templates, there are so many fields here, right? For an example, if you take this sheet template, this is a generic sheet template. If you notice here, there is one field named client name. There is another field named project address, project ID, drawing number, everything. These are all different fields, right? In this, if you notice, some fields here will have to change common for all the sheet in this project, right? A best example would be client name, client address, project ID. All these are something which will change or which will be common for all the drawings in this project, correct? In those cases, if I ask you to just edit it for each and every sheet template, it might take some time for you, right? Yes, you can edit it by double clicking it, you can edit it, but it will take some time if I ask you to do it one by one, right? In those scenarios, I would in default add a placeholder text here. Okay, that placeholder text will have something known as text here, or it will have some XSX, something like that. Okay, I will add a placeholder text for an example. I'll just change it for the sheet template alone. You consider this one. Okay, so in this case, can you see for some of the sheet templates, there are some placeholder text here, right? So the reason why I added this placeholder text in that field is, if you double click and edit this placeholder text in any one sheet, it will commonly get updated in your other sheets here as well. Okay, so that way, if you want to change the client name, you can just change it in one sheet. For other sheets in the same project, it will automatically get updated. I don't have to go to each and every sheet and edit it. Okay, that is one advantage you have it here. Okay, so that is the reason why I will add that placeholder text for the fields which will commonly get updated for all the drawings in that project. There are some fields which will be drawing specific. You might not want to get it updated for all the drawings. For that specific drawing alone, you want to have it, right? A best example would be drawing number and drawing name. This is specific for this drawing alone. If I go for another drawing, that will have a completely different drawing number and drawing name. In those cases, I will leave that field as empty. In those regions, we can just use this text option, add it, and you can type it whatever you want. Okay, if you use the text option here, it will only be available in the sheet template alone. If I go for another sheet here, there you won't see it. It will just be empty. Okay, because this is drawing specific fields. If it is a project specific field like your client name, all those things, I'll add a placeholder text here. That way I can double click that placeholder, edit it, it will get updated for all the drawings in the same project. Okay, see, all this we are doing to just make your editing work a bit more efficient in the process. Okay, otherwise you could also just select any new text here, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V in your new sheet also, but that also takes time, right? Instead, directly edit the placeholder text on YouTube. Okay. In this case, we also request you, while sharing your sheet template, please add this placeholder text as well in your sheet template and share it to us. Okay, that way we are aware of it. Okay, otherwise we generally consider your client name, project ID, designed by, drawn by, all this are project specific. So we'll generally add a placeholder text for these. Okay, because this on most cases need to be changed commonly for all the drawings in the project. For others, we'll make it as empty if it is not notified. If you want us to notify it, please add some placeholder text like text here, or add XXX something in your 2D sheet template what you're sharing, right? Make sure in that CAD drawing of the 2D sheet template, just add that and share it too, so that we are aware of that too. Okay, but once this is all done, Okay, then you should be able to finally download it. So for that, I can just click on download, and here it will ask you whether you would like to download one single sheet, which is one sheet here. If you want, just select that sheet name alone, and here you can just select download it as a PDF, download it as an image file, and yes, you can also download it as a CAD file as well. DWG file will also, you can also download it as a DWG file too. So these three things got better. Okay, you can download in any of these three. Okay, and if you're downloading as a PDF or a JPEG, the tool will ask you whether you want to download it as a color drawing or a black and white drawing. Yes, right now it is a color drawing, right? If you want it, yes, you can make it as a color, or you can go for a black and white drawing too. Okay, this one is asking you, your drawings could be color or black and white. So this is asking you what you want your sheet template to be, whether you want your sheet template to be color or black and white. Yes, because some organizations, they have their organization logo in the color, right? Which means they want all their sheet to have their organization logo in color. Maybe the drawings could be in black and white, but they want their logo, their brand mark to be in color, right? In those cases, if you want, you can just have it as color and go for, or you can just decide it. Okay, once that is done, just click on download, and your 2D drawing will be downloaded. The selected single 2D drawing will be downloaded as a PDF. What if you want to download multiple sheets in a single PDF? No worries, just multi-select the sheets here. Okay, you have different sheets here, right? So if you want, you can just multi-select it. So in this case here, I want to select, I want to download my external elevation, internal elevation. I can just download multiple sheets here. And now if I download it as a PDF, in a single PDF, all these drawings will be downloaded in a separate, in a different page. Okay, I can just download it, and it will be downloaded. Okay, so yes, this is how you should be able to download your drawings. Okay, so like I said, PDF, JPEG, and CAD is also there, but the need for CAD download is minimal, because like I said, you can just download, you can just make all those dimensions, adding, editing, text, everything could be done here itself. On most cases, that is something which an organization, to do those things, they will take it to the CAD and do it. But if you are able to edit it here, you don't even need to worry about it. Now, can you see all the 5 drawings which we selected is downloaded in a single PDF itself as different pages, right? So this is what I was talking about. Okay, so this is how you should be able to download your drawings and take it forward to. Okay, so this is like your conventional thing where you can just download it as a PDF, and then you can just plot it up, print it out, or you can directly share it to your client and take it forward, right? But there is also a digital way of sharing your drawings here too. Yes, there is one method here too, where you can digitally share the drawings. Okay, for say if you want to share a drawing to your client, instead of just sharing it as a PDF, okay, which is generally not password protected, right? But if you want to share a drawing, you could also directly share it too. Right next to your download, there is something called share option. Can you see in the drawing layout window? If you click it, it will ask you to click create a new share. Click on create a new share. It will ask you to select the pages whom you like to download. In my case here, I would like to select the same drawings which are selected now, base unit, wall unit. I'm just selecting these 5 drawings. I want to share only these 5 drawings to my client. In those cases, just select those drawing, click on share. Now it will make all those drawing, compile it up, and it will just share it in a digital format. Okay, I'll show it to you. So that is like, see, this is a cloud-based tool. Everything we are doing, we are digitally sharing the project in digital ecosystems. We are just working in a completely digital process, right, from your end to end. And obviously, why the your CAD drawings need to be still the conventional system. You could still follow a digital method, but yes, once that is done, can you see? This is what it will open. And here you can just define it. Okay, if you want, you can make it as color wireframe mode, or you can make it as black and white or realistic mode. Everything you can download it. You can just change it here itself. Okay, anyway, this is a digital sharing. Okay, you can just double click it and retype the name what you want. This is the name, it will be shared in that link as well. And you can just define the time, link valid. You can just define the date. Till then the link will be valid. You can set a validation for that link, and you can define whether you want to allow comments. Yes, you can also, if you made it as allow comments, where your client can add a comment there. They will see this plus icon here. They can just click and they can add a comment. If they want to change something also, they can do that as well. Only if you selected allow comment here. Okay. Apart from that, here you will see the copy link, or there is the QR. You can just, or you can just come copy this link and share it to your client. If you want to add a password, if you want to protect it, then click on password required. It will generate a 4-digit password. Now you have to share this password along with the link for this 2D drawing. That way they can access this 2D drawing alone. Okay. Once that is done, just click on confirm. Now this is how your client will see your 2D drawings here. Can you see? Same plot, but in a digital format. I mean, this is not aligned to the scale here, but yeah. Can you see? Same drawing in a digital format. Okay. So this could be done. And apart from that, if they feel like I want to see this in color mode, yes, they can just go to color mode, click on confirm, and they will see that update being done. It will take some time. Like I said, this is a resourceful thing, right? So it will take some time, but yes, they can do. And if your client wants to add a comment, they can just click on add comment here. And let's just say that the client wants to add some query, or they can just add a comment there stating that and post it up. So this comment will be seen. So now once you open the same link in your system, in your system or in your phone, you will notice that someone has added a comment mentioning that what is this. Then you can just edit it and provide a clarification for it. Or if you provided a clarification, you can delete that comment and you can right. So this is what it is. And if you want, yeah, this is what it is. Copy the link and you can share it too. So like I said, this is a digital way of sharing too, if you want to share your drawings like this. Okay. So yeah, so you have both the methods, conventional of downloading it as a PDF or a digital way of sharing. Obviously, if you want to print it out, you have to download it as a PDF or an image and take it forward. But if you want to just share it digitally, then you can also go for that method too, right? So yeah, so this is what when it comes to your 2D drawings, your different types of 2D drawings, right from we talked about from the scratch till the defined part here. Okay. So now what is remaining is just one type of drawing, which is extremely simple. I won't call this technically as a drawing, but I can notice some organizations recently are showing interest for this, which is your annotation drawings. Okay. For the annotation drawing also, you have to go to custom furniture drawing. There you will see this one. Can you see? Right to your room drawing, annotation drawing, right? Annotation drawing is nothing but this is like a 3D way of it is like adding your dimensions and annotations in your 3D view. Okay. And this will greatly be helpful if, especially if, for your site people and on most cases for your clients too. It will provide a great clarity of your designs of your cabinetries to your clients. I'll just show you one example here. See, annotation drawing, like I said, it is not a complicated drawing technically. Okay. Technically, it is not even called as a drawing. So it is like a visual way of adding a dimension in your 3D. Okay. So for that also, first you have to go to your kitchen or your closet, depending on your requirement here. And once you got inside it, go to your custom furniture drawing and click on this annotation. Okay, make sure whether it is closet or kitchen cabinet, make sure that category is selected and click on annotation drawing, click on generate. Once that is done, now the tool will ask you to position your camera. Okay, it will ask you which camera you would like to position. So in this case, let's just say that I want to add a 3D dimensions, okay, of these shutters here. Know the width and height of these shutters. Okay, in those cases, I can just position my camera this way. And if I select any cabinet here, can you see it is opening up a floating window. In this floating window, you will see one important option here named as auto measure, right? Click it. That's it. It will add the width, height, and depth of that specific, of that specific cabinet. That way, you can just do it for multiple cabinets. Can you see? So this is how you should be able to add a basic dimension, the basic, the width, depth, and height of a cabinet. Okay. This, with regards to this might work. So you can just add it for all the loft cabinet and everything here, and you can take it forward. Once this is all added, If you want, you can just move it too. So if you just select any dimension, you can also move it. You can just align it in the same axis too, depending on how you want to make it visible. And you can control the line color here. You have three options. You can control the line color, you can control the line thickness, and you can also control the text size as well, depending on which it will be updated. Okay. And once that is done, you can just select the aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is nothing but we're gonna take this as a screenshot. Okay. Anything that falls within this four corners will be taken as a screenshot as a part of your annotation drawing. So if you want, you can just define the aspect ratio. In my case, I'm looking for a much more of a wider angle so that I could also add multiple dimensions here too. So once it's all done, I can just save it. I can just click a screenshot here. Okay, and that screenshot will be saved. Okay, this is one thing. Another thing is, apart from this, I also want to open up the shelves here. I want to add a similar kind of a dimension for those internal components, internal parts as well. Okay, in those cases, yes, you can also do that as well. Okay, so for that, you can just click on clear all dimensions. And for that, first I have to open the shutter. So let me just go to the model here again. Use the parameter to open the shutters so that you can see the internals. Okay, or if you want, you can hide the shutters also, depending on what you need. But make sure in the model your internals are seen here. Okay, and once your internals are seen, now same process, closet annotation, it generate drawing. And now since the internals are visible now, okay, and now just a second. Yeah, so now if I just select this, can you see the cabinet is getting selected? Even if I add an auto measure, it will generate it for the entire cabinet, the height, width, and the depth of it, right? But I don't want it. I want to add an internal dimension for the regions here. In those cases, right now, can you see it is mentioned as select by cabinet? That is why we are able to select the entire cabinet and we are able to add a auto measure dimension for it. Instead, just select based on internal zones. You have something called internal zone here, right? Select internal zone. Click it. And now you should be able to select each and every internal zones here. Can you see? If I select any internal zone, here it will show you the auto measure for that internal zone. I can add it. So now it is mentioning the width, depth, and height of this internal zone alone, which is something what you need, right? So that way I can just do the same process for each and every internal zone here. I can define it. I can also do the same thing for this one. Can you see? These things could be done. In some cases, for say, you might need to mention the dimension of the part. A best example is this locker. Okay, I want to mention the dimension of that locker. In those cases, I can just select by part. That way I can just select the locker and I can add an internal dimension for that locker. So if it is a part, something like this one or an internal drawer of some sort, then you can just select by part. That way you can just select that part and add a dimension for that part. If it is just an empty shelf region like this, then you can just go select by internal zone and you can select the internal zone and you can add a dimension for it. Okay. So depending on what category you select, you will be able to define the prospects like what we did. Okay. And once this way, if you are able to add all the dimensions for all the sentinel zones here, if you are able to take it, then like we all did, just take a screenshot so that the screenshot of this region which falls within this frame will be saved. Okay, remember the screenshot is a very crucial process. Okay, the screenshot what you're taking here is something that will get reflected in your drawing layout window. Yes, it will get reflected there. Okay, so now we took a screenshot here, right? This way you can just do it for all the 4 sites for all the project. Just take a screenshot and add a 3D dimensions. Once this is all done, just exit this. Okay, and go to your drawing layout window here. Okay, so you can directly go to the drawing layout where you add a view tab there, right? So in the view tab, where under insert tab in view, this is where all your drawings what we generated would be, right? Right next to it, you will see something known as pictures here. So let me just create one new sheet here. Okay. And I can just replace the sheet template to your organization sheet template by clicking on this replace frame and doing it. In addition to that, yeah, once that is done, in addition to that, if we go to the pictures tab, here you will see the screenshot what we took in that annotation. Can you see? I can just drag it, place it here, make it for the full length. If you want to add this as a separate drawing here, yes, you can also do that too. Okay. And your other screenshot is also available here, right? Just add it. So remember, when it comes to annotate drawing, it's all about how you're placing your camera. Okay. So make sure that your camera is properly placed. That way, all the information which you need to know about that cabinet will be visible. And that way you can do. Okay. This is a better option, to with this now this annotation drawing will provide a better clarity to your clients. Okay, because obviously we can't expect your clients, or on in recent days even your site, even a site execution team, they are not able to read the drawings, right? Because of skill differences, right? We are not able to get the skill which we used to get some 10 years back, 20 years back. Okay, now majority of the on-site or laborers, they are not able to even read the drawings, right? In those cases, this type of an annotation drawing will provide them a much more better clarity on that requirement, right? Especially for site execution. For production team, they are trained for this aspect, but from the site aspect point of view, I'm telling for that. And obviously from the client point of view as well, we can't expect client to know how to read a technical drawing. In those cases, this will provide them a much more better clarity, right? So this is what this annotation drawing is intended for. Okay, so you can just manually annotate the dimensions for each and everything, and you can take it forward. You can add it as a separate drawing too. So yeah. And recently, I'm noticing interest with many organizations on this annotation drawings. Okay, so maybe you can just try it out, and you can just share your feedbacks. And yeah, we can also streamline this too. So this is what your annotation drawing. That's it. Then you can just download it like the usual process what we did. So any doubts, any queries in the process what we addressed so far? Anyone?
So we have a list of queries. So if we can address them one by one.
Sure. Please, you can just list
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah. Okay. So the number one query was regarding sheet templates.
I'm sorry.
I think it was regarding sheet templates.
Okay.
If we could change sheet templates.
Yes. So that I've already addressed. Right?
Yeah. Second query we have is if we could mention dimensions of cabinets over the units and not on the sides. For example, if we have a base unit and it's a single door shutter unit, if we could mention the dimensions on the unit itself rather than mentioning them on the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do that. I mean, all those dimensions, all those are default dimensions which are added there. And general practice is to add it outside the wall so that your drawings won't be congested. But if you want, yes, you can just move any of these dimensions. If you want, you can just, like I said, you can just select the chain of dimension and literally drag it and position it within your cabinet if you want it. Okay. So this organizations, they generally use because they might not intuitively they might not be able to precisely get what this base dimension represents, what this top dimension represents. I can understand that request, right? But yeah, that is a pretty practical request. But yes, if you want to mention the within all those things within the cabinet itself, yes, you can do it too. Just select this entire thing, and then you can just together you can just download it and add it within your shutters too. Yes.
And also for the drawers.
For which one?
For drawers, drawer heights, drawer fascia height.
Got it. Fine. That's a really good question here. For the drawer fascia alone, when it comes to drawer fascia, there are two things. One is your external drawers and internal drawers. Okay. For the external drawer fascia, and internal for both now, these bifurcations won't be added. Okay, the auto-generated dimensions won't be seen there. For that, you have to manually add a dimension. Okay, like I said, just go it and manually add a dimension here to take it for now. But for the external dimensions, soon it will be updated. Okay, once it is updated, where for the external drawers, you will precisely see the height of the drawer being auto-generated in the dimension here itself. Okay. But for the internal drawing also, we have the same request. That is something that we are working on. Okay. As a part of auto generation. But yes, still you can just manually add any dimensions you want. Okay. And that was a wonderful question. Since that was mentioned, another common query which designers will come across here is, if I want to add a manual dimension, they might generally zoom it here and they will notice that there are so many dimensions here. Can you see? They'll at the initial phases, designers will get confused. Okay, they might be like, there are so many dimensions here in this. What is the dimension should I select? Okay, so for this aspect, what you could do is, the reason why you are having multiple lines here is because that is how the model, the cabinet model is configured in the backend. Okay, the reason how, why you are able to generate cut list and all those things, if you opted for the cut list and other products, other D2M products of NAADI, you precisely know what that is. So the reason why you're able to generate your cut list for your models here is because of this, because your cabinet models are configured into different components. For say, in this, can you see this multiple line? This is technically your shutters edge band thickness. Okay, so since it is there in the model, it is getting reflected in your D2M cut list, and since it is there in your model, it is also getting reflected in your drawings as well. Okay, but this is your carcass line, and this is the gap between the shutter and the carcass. So everything is done on a practical basis. So that's why you are seeing this multiple line. Okay, this might become a challenge if you are manually adding a dimension. In those cases, don't get confused. If you want to manually add a dimension for a cabinet here, for the external elevation alone, I'm telling, for that alone, just try to zoom in and you will see one black line here. Can you see this black line? That black line is actually the point, the center point where the two cabinets meet. Okay, so you don't need to select this orange lines here. Orange lines are carcass lines or your edge band lines. You don't have to select. Just make sure you select this black line here, pick a point and go for another black line into it. So for that alone, you have to just zoom in and you have to precisely add it to the point. Can you see the black line here to the intersection point? You can just add it to the point and you can take it forward. Okay. So for that alone, make sure that you zoom in and do it for those missed dimension. This is only for the external dimension, I'm telling. Okay. For the internal dimension, you won't face this issue. For say, if you just go to any internal dimension here, can you see? You don't need to worry about it. So it could literally be like, you don't need to focus on the, what to say, on the corners as well. Just select these two edges and take it forward. Okay, for this you don't even need to zoom in if you want to add any missed dimension here, because it is plain. You can directly add it. Same thing for the verticals too. If you want to add a vertical, you just do it from the plane point of view and you can get it done. Okay, but for the external elevation alone, for now, you please try to zoom in and click on that black intersection, because those black intersection represents the carcass meeting, this point. Okay, just pick it and add it to, or if you already added a dimension, try to use this add dimension here. That way I don't have to zoom in 2 times to pick a point. You just have to zoom in 1 time to pick a point and then move it to the another aspect and follow the same process here. And press enter. Okay, so this way you can just follow this method. This will be of a much more appropriate one for your external elevation. But like I said, for the internal elevation, you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so yeah, so this is what it is. So for now, you please demarcate your height for your external drawers using this manual method. Okay, but in in a short span of time, I'm hoping that this will happen in another week or so. After that, your external dimensions of the draw, external fascia for the drawers will be automatically annotated here, and your internal fascia will also follow the same process. In a short span of time. Okay, but till then, you can manually add the dimension for that. Okay. Yes. Any other queries?
The next query is if we want to add handles and their dimensions.
If you want handles and their
dimensions like handle height and thickness.
got it, fine. See, in those cases, yes, you can just manually use your linear dimensions and you can just pick a point and you can just do it too. But see, generally these handle dimensions and all those things is generally not a common practice in your room drawings. Okay, because maybe on a product drawing, they might have this request where they have to mention the handle dimensions and all those things. But for now, if you want to do it, yes, you have to do it manually only, because handle dimension being mentioned in a room drawing like this is not a common practice. External handle dimensions, I'm telling, being mentioned in a room drawing like this is not a common practice. I noticed some designers doing it for the gola. If it is a gola, then they ought to mention that, clearance for that gola. For those things, I noticed some organization mentioning it in the elevation. But for external handles, I haven't noticed it. But yes, if your organization has that custom requirement, then you can manually add the dimension using the linear method and take it forward too. Or if you feel like that is a bit of a time consuming, yes, you can also do it in the annotation too. Just add a leader here mentioning like this is the length of the handle, or mention the brand of like Epco so and so of 160 or of 90 You can just mention it as a leader as well. I feel that adding a compared to adding a manual dimension, adding a leader will be much more quicker, and it might precisely solve that requirement. Right? So yeah. So yeah, for now the answer for this is yes, you can manually add it or you can add it as a leader, since that is not a common practice in the room drawing. Yes. So what is the next question?
If we can change the color of the arrow.
Okay, fine. The outer line you're telling? Yeah, you can do it. Okay, so like I said, any line you can just select any component and change the project outline of it. We already talked about it, right? You can just select, you can change the outline of it and change the color. Okay, so it will eventually change. Yes, you can do that as well. Any component, if you are able to select it, you can change the project line and the outline, you can take it forward. Okay, remember, yeah, to add to that, you might have this query, what is this project line and outline? Are both those things are same? No, technically not. Project outline is nothing but the outdoor line. Can you see? This is what they call it as outline surrounding the project. Project line are the lines which are present within this model. Can you see these lines? So this is the project line, and this one here is the outlines. In some cases, your project line will become outline as well, especially for this chimney. If you notice, outside also you have a project line, right? In those cases, you don't need to modify the outline. They are just project line you have to change. Okay. In some cases, you might only have the outline, not the project line. In those cases, you can do. But remember, outline is the outer line what you're seeing in surrounding that model, and project line is the inner line what you're seeing within that model. You can specifically control the line type, line weight, line color for both those aspects here. This is there common for any component which you are able to select in your 2Ds. Okay, so yeah, any other queries?
How to change the size of the header pointers dot or point, the black dot. Yeah.
Got it. That's a very good question, and I precisely know who has quoted this question as well. So
It's
yes,
Winnie.
I'm sorry.
It's Winnie.
Okay, got it. Fine, because this is a similar kind of a request which I recently got from one of the organizations. Okay, so I thought that is the same organization who has quoted it. But yes, so that is something that is in the request. So we are working on it. So soon it will be updated. For now, you don't have it. It will the size of it will be automatically devised based on the drawing scale. Right now, if you just added it, if you place it in a sheet, you are setting it as 1:25, 1:17 based on that scale. These dots in that leader are automatically controlled, okay, because they made it that way in the backend. But we are working on systems where just like how you have a attachment leader and color for it, you will also have another option which will help you to control the size of the dot in that leader too. Okay, so yes, that is something that is under development. Soon it will be updated. Once it is updated, I'll notify it to your respective organizations. Okay, that's a really good question. I really appreciate your observation there. Yes, what is the next question?
Next is if the base units and the loft units they have different laminate color. How do we do that with the hatch option
Okay.
other than selecting everything separately?
Got it. Yes, like I said, if you want, you can select it. You can hold the shift and you can just select the shutters of having same finishes one by one. Or like I said, you can just select one shutter and use this quick select option to select all the similar shutters here. In this, can you see even these shutters are getting selected? This is a shutter of another finish, but that is also getting selected because that is a shutter, right? But you can just deselect those things because that is minor. So if there are any other two other components also, I can deselect it. Since majority of the shutters here follows the same finish, I can use this quick select and I can commonly change the edge for it. For anything which is differentiated, then I can just manually select it and do it. Okay. For now, you don't have any match property for the edges. Okay, because that match property is a what to say, a model configuration which need to be aligned with the product, right? So yes, so that is I wouldn't say that there is still under development. The team is testing out for its feasibility, so it is before the development process. Okay, so team is testing out for its feasibility, but for now, you don't have a match property for your hatches. For your text, for your dimensions, it is there. For your hatches, you don't have a match property. You can just select similar object like what we did using the quick select option and deselect all the unwanted ones and hatch it manually like what we did. Okay. Yes. Any other doubts?
How do we give details of laminates, edge banding, accessories for
Okay,
production?
fine. So that is a very unique requirement, which is not at all in the industry standard for home drawing. So yes, so what you're mentioning is like you want to mention the edge band and everything in the drawing here, right? Please do it in the leader itself. Okay, because I noticed some organization mentioning the external finish and internal finish as a annotation here. Okay, but I've never seen an organization to even mention the edge band finish and everything here in the annotation too. Because if that is done, then the text itself will literally cover your majority part of the shutter. So your design might not get communicated. So in those cases, you please mention those things as a leader. Or if you are adding an edge for it, maybe let's just say that these are all the shutters which will have the same external finish. And on most cases, the internal finish and even the edge band finish will also be same because all the shafts the same external finish, right? In those cases, maybe you can just add it as a legend as well, like what we did in the drawing layout for this project. We added as a legend, we take it, right? So there also we can do it. So I feel that is a much more a practical and an efficient option instead of just adding it, because we just also make sure that drawing is not only to stuff all the information. Eventually, after stuffing all the information in the drawing, your drawing should still look legible. Okay, it shouldn't create any confusion. That is where the issue starts. Okay, so for that aspect, yes, we added it here, but for that requirement it's better to add it as a part of leader than as a text here like what we did, because hband and all those things you have to mention it up, but it's your wish, text or leader both will work. Yes, next question.
How can we add plumbing and electrical symbols in the modeling phase?
Got it. I guess we already addressed that, right? So electrical symbols are already there. So here under library, your plumbing and electrical symbols will be there. Both your plan based symbols and elevation based symbols are there. You can use it and you can devise it.
How to TV unit detail drawings, TV unit paneling detail drawings.
Okay, same logic like what we did. Okay, so first you have to design a TV unit. First you have to design a TV unit in using our tool. If that is done, yes, you will be able to generate it. And the thing is, your since it's a TV unit, you might have it as a combination of wall paneling as well as your cabinets, right? Don't worry, both will get reflected in your custom furniture drawings. Okay, so as a part of your TV unit, if you add any wall paneling of that something of that sort in your wall units, those things will also get reflected in your 2D system. Okay, along with your cabinet details too. So yes, I don't have a TV unit here designed for the demonstration, but same process like what we did. Instead of kitchen, it's a typical TV unit. You can take it forward. Okay. Yes, maybe for your reference, what I'll do is I'll just share you a video demo on how to create a TV unit. If you're already aware of it, that's well and good. Just directly go to generate custom furniture drawing, you can take it forward. But if you're not aware of how to generate a TV unit modeling, then I'll share you a video demo of the TV unit modeling. You can have a glance at it. That will give you a complete idea of how we can use our storage catalogs to design your TV units. Okay. Yes. Any other doubts? Any other queries?
That's all from my side. I think there are two people who raised hands.
Yes. So any other queries from the designer side? So these are all the queries which was taken note by our team during the onboarding process. So if there are any other doubts which you're having now, anything, you can just you can be open about it. Any doubts regarding 2Ds? Okay. Any other doubts other than 2Ds? We request you to please post those doubts in the group so that our trainers will be able to address. Anything regarding to 2D, we request you just be open about it. We are happy to address. To give you a quick brush up on what we addressed, we talked about the basics of the 2D, okay, till your advanced editing part here. So we talked about different 2D drawings and what is the need for those 2D drawings. And we talked about your construction drawing in detail, what are all the type of construction drawings which you can generate. And we even talked about your flow tile layout. For that, what model configuration need to be done so that you'll get the flow tile layout. And we even talked about your RCP drawings, different type, and how you should be able to convert your light fixture drawings into an electrical drawing as well by adding those symbols and taking it forward. And we even talked about what are all the different editings which we do. And we talked about your prerequisites or the notion which designers should have with regards to generating 2D drawings in NAADI. And we talked about different editings, your dimensions, your text, your hatches, your symbols, and even we talked about editing, adding a new callout and your elevation tags as well. And apart from that, we even talked about your custom furniture drawing. What are all the different types of drawing? What are all the edits which organizations go for in the custom furniture drawings and how those things could be done? We we even addressed what is the dimension alignment logic there based on which, and now we can move this dimension and align it based on your requirement. What are all the different dimension tools, edit tools which are present in the floating window? Similarly, we did it for the text and multi leaders as well. What are all the different tools which are associated to edit that text or multi leader? And apart from that, we even talked about your 2D drawing layout. So how we can apply your 2D sheet template, and how you should be able to organize the sheet layout based on your requirement. And now we can add an image, or we can add a render, or we can add a table. All those things we talked about it so that your 2D sheet template is completed. And we even talked about editing the fields in your 2D sheet layout as well. Okay. And yes, I even told you some conditions on 2D sheet template. So please follow those construction conditions, and please share us your 2D sheet drawings. Okay, you don't need to worry about it. Just share us your 2D sheet drawing, a proper DWG file. Our team will validate it. If there are any changes, we'll let you know. If it's a minor change, our team will make it updated. We'll upload it in the bank. Okay, so if you have your organization logo as DWG, that's well and good. If you don't, you can just share your HD image of your organization logo. Our team will be able to add it and make it available in the backend for your 2D sheet template. Okay, and apart from that, we at last talked about your annotation drawings. What is the use for the annotation drawing, what the actual annotation drawing is, and what would be the scenarios which you could take it forward. So yeah, so these are all the topics which we addressed in today's session. Yeah, so I hope that there isn't any queries, any doubts. If there is any, please be open about it. I'll be happy to answer. Got it. Fine. So yeah, so in that case, we'll just close with today's sessions. Thank you so much, everyone. All those questions which you quoted there, all those were actually really interesting questions. And yes, some of the questions is something I'm not sure whether it's coincidence or not, which is something we got it as a reset request as well. So you are also able to come up with the same queries. So that shows that you're you were completely aligned with today's masterclass. So it was really good questions. So thank you so much for joining in. Like I said, there are so many masterclasses which we are planning in on different topics. So we'll keep you posted on all those things in your WhatsApp group. Okay. And same process, you have to register for it. That is where you will get your meeting links. You can just click on that meeting link and join it. Okay, it will be there in your registration form description itself. It will have that meeting link. Once registered also, it will show you in the confirmation message as well. Okay, but yes, we'll align you in different master classes. We'll see. Okay, we'll talk about if there are any interesting topics which you want us to address in the master class as well. Anything which you feel like that needs bit of a concentration also, we request you to please post it in your groups. Okay, so we are eager for those things. Okay, we come across with some topics, but we feel like there are so many topics which need to be addressed. So you please add those topics as well. We'll be able to make it as a separate masterclass too. Okay, so yeah, so with that being said, thank you so much everyone for joining. We'll see you in your next masterclass. Okay, if there are any feedbacks, anything which you'd like to share on the masterclass, please post it in the group. We are really eager for your feedbacks. Right, if you feel that the session is extremely lengthy, I know that I know that feedback, or if you feel that the session needs a bit more details, or if you feel that the session was perfect, any positive or negative, you please share your feedbacks in your group as well. Okay, we are eager for your feedbacks too on the masterclass, so that we can refine the masterclass. Right, so thank you so much everyone. We'll definitely meet in your next masterclass. Yeah, thank you everyone.